It's Wisconsin week.
That's the
Can I
only,
get people fired up for Wisconsin and Nebraska?
I don't know that you can.
Oh,
That might be asking a little too much on a Monday.
I
Maybe
tried
by
there.
like Thursday.
In name only, it sounds good.
It's an 11 o'clock kick.
Be a little cool outside.
Nebraska is a 13-point underdog. So remember that stretch where they were favored in 5 of their first 7? Now it's the 3rd straight week they've been a double-figure underdog. I actually went and got some. I went and played a little bit with Nebraska getting 13, just a little.
Yeah.
Thinking that maybe if Casey Thompson plays, that's the only chance that Nebraska has against Wisconsin is number 11 back at quarterback, and that is the great unknown if he will play at all or who will play quarterback.
Yeah.
At this point, the 3 of us have a shot with any eligibility remaining to play quarterback against Wisconsin because that is a mess.
You have any eligibility left, Gary?
I don't think so, and I also don't think I have. You know what? I think I could probably run one play,
Okay.
and then I'd get hit and I'd be done.
Sure.
So I could give you one. I don't know about that after that. But I would look good on the sidelines with like a headset on and maybe not in pads. Maybe
and
like
and
in
the
street,
gear, too, because the gear's
I'd be in
really
street
nice.
clothes with like a headset on after I had my one play.
Would
I
you-
would run an RPO and immediately get rid of it.
Would you have the like play sheet, like you were talking to the back, like to the quarterback, be like, hey, you gotta be looking for these things, making a lot of hand gestures,
Yes.
looking really involved.
Yeah, I want to be the guy that wears a odd-looking hat and a different colored shirt that
Okay.
is signaling into the plays.
That's my favorite. It's like, wait, that's not one of their colors.
No.
Green?
Yeah, that's where we're at after Nebraska and Michigan. Ho-hum. It was,
No, it's one of the most boring games I've ever
It
seen.
went kind of as expected. I tell you what, I was not overwhelmed by Michigan. I said there's some big red overreaction. And I mean, everybody goes, well, when do you hit rock bottom? Well, 6 straight years without a bowl game. Nebraska hasn't been ranked at the end of the season since 2012. You play a game like that where that was demoralizing for Nebraska. From the standpoint of there's nothing you could do.
No.
I mean, Michigan is bigger, stronger, faster. Michigan's one of the top teams. But Michigan toyed with you. Once Harbaugh got up 7-0, they're like, this game is over. And so I don't know. I wasn't enamored by Michigan's poor, they had poor clock management at the end of the first half. I thought Michigan was like, we got up 7-0. You know what? Let's work on our passing game, which you didn't have to pass the ball. You could have run the ball the whole day and ran up the score. It was just get in, get out, hope no injuries. And lo and behold, in a season like this you have your offensive coordinator get drilled on the sidelines, and then you lose your starting quarterback who is on crutches at the end of the game. And now the season is down to 2 games.
Your backup
remaining.
starting quarterback.
Yes. And then your other backup quarterback is clearly injured. And that finally came out on Saturday about the health of Logan Smothers, which, again, goes back to Casey Thompson and what's going to happen this weekend against Wisconsin. And Casey Thompson has a little nerve damage in his pinky, can't grip the football. All is well in Huskerland. Season can't get over quick enough. Just can't.
Do you think we get a 4th quarterback before the end of the year?
Possibly.
That like we will see one. Not
possibly.
Because if Smothers is hurt, I don't think Casey's coming back. I don't think the feeling's coming back in his fingers. I just don't.
It's going to be 20 at kickoff. I don't.
It's going to be a kickoff?
About 20, 21.
Oh, God. I know this is going to be colder in Minnesota for Iowa and Minnesota at 3 in the afternoon.
Oh, that sounds fun.
Hello, that's an ideal start time. It'll be dark before that game's over.
But, I'm not a doctor, but just based on the way this has been talked about, don't think the feeling's coming back in Casey Thompson's hand anytime soon. Trevor Purdy's got a higher ankle sprain. You're really going to throw him back out there? Because those usually take several weeks.
And I think bad, too.
Yeah, his season more than likely is over.
I agree. And then, so you're talking about Logan Smothers, who's apparently injured. And
Robbie, he's injured.
No, that's what I mean. Yeah. But we finally hear something about that. And his best skill set's running. So you probably aren't going to, we saw the play calling with him in the second half, especially. And Mickey said as much. They really didn't want him to take a hit. He's going to take a hit eventually because that's how football works. I think we're going to end up seeing a 4th quarterback at some point, and that's a really bad sign for Nebraska.
Could you play a whole game with Wildcat?
That's what I was thinking. Who's your Wildcat quarterback?
Alante Brown played quarterback in prep school, high school.
I don't
know. Is he
okay
to go?
I would say, is he intact?
Yeah. it just Saturday was just another addition to this season that we will hopefully soon forget. Now, here's the situation. And I know there are a lot of people that are wondering, because this, of course, was on Big Red Overreaction, because now the season is essentially over except for 2 games.
Mhm.
There is part of, you could say, well, just get on, let me know who the new coach is so we can move on to 23 and wash our hands of 22. There is a little part, if you're a player, you've got tape for yourself, tape for your future home, tape for your future coach, if you don't already have enough over the last 2 games.
Mhm.
And I would think if I'm waking up this morning and I'm getting ready to play a football game against Wisconsin, and I'm one of the rare seniors, so that's my last time at Memorial Stadium, is one, I haven't added a trophy to the athletic department in 7 years?
Mhm.
And these are 2 trophy games. Whether you're into trophy games or not, that's at least something. And then you haven't won a game against a team in the West yet this year. So there's certain things that, like, internally you could talk to yourself about getting after it, but it's going to be tough because right now, even the most positive guy in the world, in Mickey Joseph, who his positivity and his ability to keep guys together through all of the noise and all the trials and tribulations and trying to fix this on the fly. I saw a guy on Saturday, and a little bit had to do with Michigan, that just demoralizes you, and there's nothing you can do. I mean, when you're getting beat up by a bully and you've got no counterpunch, you're almost to the end. That this program with 2 games to go, including 1 at home, it's instead of letting it just fade away this season, it needs like a jolt of something. And could that jolt be a new coach and a new energy and a new talking point and whatever happens? I know there's a lot of smoke out there. It just now, I think the respect from Trev Alberts to this current team about in the moment playing for a bowl game and respecting all of that, that probably has changed on his timeline now that the season is essentially over except for 2 games. That if you're going to move forward, and I think Nebraska is almost to the finish line of their coaching search, this would seem to start to line up of now we talk about 23 and we put to bed 22 and get to 23 as soon as possible. And who knows, something could happen this week, but I think something is imminent and it is coming pretty quick. And I think this program needs it because this program right now has absolutely hit the wall. When I look at a guy like Mickey Joseph again, and he looks like, man, the last 7-8 weeks now have really started to wear on him, and it just reiterates the point of how far you are away when you play a team like Michigan. I think the program needs a jolt. I think the fan base needs a jolt to carry him through the rest of November.
Yeah, and it's incredibly unlikely that jolt's going to happen on the football field, if we're being honest. You look at not just the opponents, but the quarterback situation, just for one. If you got Casey Thompson, maybe you feel better about a Wisconsin game or an Iowa game against a team that has looked a little better offensively, but still not very good. Wisconsin seems to be playing better in the last few weeks. That was your pick, still alive in the West.
Who isn't?
Nebraska and Northwestern. That's it. Those are the only teams that are not alive.
If you already said it upset at Iowa, you're like even more upset now because they're going to find a way to go to Indianapolis.
Oh yeah, that seems inevitable.
In the year where things seem to be crumbling in Iowa City, and all of a sudden they've turned things around, and because of the chaotic, bad football that's going on in the West, Iowa has like the insider track. Man,
unbelievable.
It was right there for Illinois too.
Timing is everything. You think about the Big Ten West over the last couple of years, which has not been dominating.
No.
Outside of Iowa last year, which, really didn't give the rest of the division a chance. But for the most part, the last couple of years, the West Division has been kind of mediocre.
There for the taking.
And timing is everything. If you're Nebraska, where you haven't been able to string things together, where you could at least walk into the last couple of weeks of the season and still have hope that you could win the West as bad as the West is. Timing is everything. And Iowa, timing is everything. Illinois has fallen apart. Chase Brown may be out for a while.
Yeah, that looked bad.
Purdue is kind of just hanging around. And now all of a sudden Iowa, which is the epitome of just hanging around, is won 2 football games this year where they have averaged 2.7 yards per play and 2.1 yards per play.
That's hard to do.
And they're 2 wins away from going back to Indianapolis. The head coach was going to be fired. His son wanted, people wanted to run him out. And now friggin' Iowa. Jeez.
They should probably still want to run Brian Ferentz out of town, to be fair. It's not like the offense is setting the world on fire. They got another defensive touchdown on Saturday. But no, I mean, going back to Nebraska, I tend to agree with you. I think the coaching search is over sooner rather than later. And that's about the only thing at this point that I think could revive the fan base a little bit, because you mentioned Mickey Joseph, the man who seemed to have eternal optimism seems to be running out of that eternal optimism. And listen, part of it's probably in the moment. You just got beat up pretty good. You just lost another quarterback likely for the rest of the season. You probably aren't feeling great in the moment, but we've seen other press conferences this year after losses and tough losses that he seemed a little bit more upbeat. I don't know. I mean, I think the stark reality of the fact that, hey, this is probably another 3-9 team. This is probably a situation where he's not going to be the head coach, is starting to really sink in for him a little bit. And you mentioned the timing of it all. You know, they're officially not bowl eligible anymore, which I think we all anticipated, but it's officially official. That starts to make more sense if you're Trev and you said, hey, we gave you a shot. We kept the coaching stuff out of the news as much as possible until the goals for your season were all eliminated. We're not going to be bowl eligible for a 6th straight year. It's time to move forward.
And there's guys on your current roster that they may be moving forward or starting to hear. I mean, you got a team coming to town in Wisconsin where Jim Leonard, please name names. He's talking about the tampering with Braylon Allen, who has been attached to Michigan and other things.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how Wisconsin handles all of that, because Jim Leonard still has an interim tag in front of him. I mean, that's by 14 points to Iowa when they gave up 146 yards. How you doing, Wisconsin?
Yeah, I don't know.
But when he talks about tampering, name names, please. Let's get this over with. But there are, I mean, now you have to wonder about guys, people reaching out, people at home talking to him, saying, hey, how you feeling? You're not going to a bowl game, man. It's cold up there. It's starting to get cold. You want to come back home. So
come play for a national championship in Michigan.
That's where, that's where you got to, every day you got to recruit your own roster. But in this case, you have some guys that you have to really keep an eye on, that nobody else is getting to them. And, I mean, I think guys want some clarification and they want some direction on what's going to happen next so that they can make up their decision.
Also, they want to know about their future. Yeah.
What they're going to do. So,
yeah. Honestly, at this point, since the goals for this season are over, which honestly was just to make a bowl game and not be embarrassing again, which that has not happened. At this point, you owe it as much to the players to let them know what the future of the program is as you do to let them play out the season. Because, as you said, there's guys that are going to be here next year. There's guys that aren't going to be here next year. You imagine with a new head coach, there's going to be a decent amount of turnover on the roster based on what they want to do, the type of guys they want, the scheme they want to run, all these things. And so there's going to be guys that are either going to be highly encouraged to look for a new place to play football, or they're going to decide they want to find a new place to play football. And they need to, I mean, the sooner you can give them that information, if you're Trev, the better off it is for your program. So I know a lot of people say, oh, you got to respect the season and you owe it to the players to let them play it out and not make an announcement until Iowa. I say the other way. You owe it to the players to let them know what their potential future looks like as soon as possible, because we've seen guys, I'm not saying it would happen to a ton of Nebraska guys, but we've seen guys get stuck in the portal where they don't have a landing spot or they don't have a place to continue their career at the same, at an equivalent level of football. And if you're Trev and you're Nebraska, you deserve to let those guys deserve to be let known what their future looks like as soon as possible.
Back to the whole timing is everything, is all the names that have been attached to like the Nebraska job, whether they be with initial names or even most recently, of all the years, guys fall off the Survivor Island.
Oh, yeah.
Look at Mark Stoops a couple of weeks ago. I mean, the guys that are not falling off the Survivor Island are guys that don't currently have jobs.
Yeah.
But look at Mark Stoops a couple of weeks ago. He was all of a sudden a very intriguing candidate. And, people in their own mind vetted him, talked about him. Then look what happened. Kentucky's lost 4 of 6. They just got beat by Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt in Lexington.
Mhm.
Look at Matt Campbell.
Mhm.
All of a sudden, Iowa State's scrambling to become bowl eligible. Remember Lance Leipold, super hot.
5-0.
Then they fell off. I mean, names that were
even
hot,
Aranda.
names that were hot for Nebraska, all of a sudden this year just completely bottomed out.
So the curse goes there too, not just after you play them.
Yeah, if your name gets attached to the job, you are also cursed. And for the record,
should we read anything into Alabama? Bill O'Brien's name gets mentioned, and all of a sudden, Alabama's offense looks exactly the same as it did on the opening day. And thank God Bryce Young plays for Alabama. But Alabama's lost a couple of games.
Maybe we should read into Lane Kiffin. They just lose to Alabama. I mean, just putting some things out there.
So does anybody want their rival to lose this weekend? We will float their name for the Nebraska job because they are bound to lose.
Kleiman, let's go.
I play Texas. People may be saying, no. Can you guys take Sarkisian? He's 11-11 on the 40
Check,
acres.
we got it. All right.
No, I think it. I mean, personally, and I would imagine you agree. I think it's silly to cross off candidates based on a handful of games, but perception-wise, that's what happens, right? And there is a PR portion of this as well. I don't know that Trev is as influenced by it. I would hope he's not as influenced by it as some of us are, but it's one of those things where, okay, even a year ago, certainly 2 years ago, the name Matt Campbell would have lit people's hair on fire. They would have been so excited. Whereas today, you'd have, how much PR spin you'd have to put on to sell a Matt Campbell hire at this point? Is he a different football coach than he was 2 years ago? I don't think so. Iowa State's a really hard place to win. This was almost inevitable. Kind of the same thing with Kentucky, right? Kentucky in the SEC is a really hard place to win, and Stoops has done a really good job there. But a downswing was almost inevitable at some point because there's a reason Kentucky's been Kentucky for 20 years, and there's a reason Iowa State's been Iowa State for 50 years. This is kind of the natural state of the program. And not to say that either of those guys are actually going to be hired, because I don't think they will be, but it's always funny to me when, and you do it kind of tongue in cheek, but there's people that will watch Matt Campbell lose or watch Dave Aranda lose and be like, I'm out on Dave Aranda. They lost 3 games this year. I'm out. Like, is he actually a different football coach than he was 3 games ago? Because I don't think so. He probably still knows how to coach football, if you thought that was your guy anyway.
I mean, next year he won't be up for the Nebraska job, and they're bound to just lose 1 game.
Yeah, he's gonna be a 12-1, Big 12 champs.
We should have hired him.
It's just like a name that becomes popular, like the name of the day. By Saturday, they've lost a game.
Absolutely.
And then they lose the following Saturday, and you're like, wow, okay. That's not supposed to happen. You're supposed to have your name attached to Nebraska and then win, and then you get a big payday.
That's why Urban Meyer's so popular with the fans. He never loses.
So yeah, the people that are popular don't have jobs. They don't have jobs currently in the college football world. So bowl eligibility is out. Nebraska's down to their last 2 games, and now things start to line up. Everybody be measured today and moving forward. Hydrate properly.
It's all over but the crying.
You think people are going to cry?
I mean, it's a metaphor. I think the season is all over but the saddest bits.
You know what? I'm going to promote this. You haven't beaten a Big Ten West team. You haven't put a trophy in your case in a while. I don't care if it's, a trophy that nobody knows the name of. There's still something there.
What would you put the odds at that Nebraska wins either of their last 2 games? Like, if you're setting a line, you're a bookmaker. What would you put the odds at that Nebraska wins either of their last 2 games with the information we have right now? So basically, we have no idea who will play quarterback for this team.
They got no shot.
That's.
I thought you might give them a little bit, but yeah, fair.
No, I mean, come on.
I mean, are we talking like 20?
I'm with you.
Worse.
You don't. If Casey Thompson plays,
it's better.
Then it's better because your whole offense has been built around one guy, and all of a sudden, your offensive coordinator at least gets some semblance of reality back in him with Casey Thompson. But if the guy can't grip a football and it's his right hand, I don't know how he plays.
That's a problem. Yeah.
And then I also don't know. We can say, hey, Casey's a gamer. He's a tough guy. You know what, man? You want to make a business decision? I get it.
Also, your
dad says, hey, let's make a business decision. I get it.
There's literal physical limitations. If you can't hold on to the football, I don't care how tough you are. Like if your hand is numb, that doesn't matter how tough you are. You cannot throw a football or even hold on to a football. And I don't think Nebraska wants any more issues with turnovers than they've already got. So, I mean, I'm not saying he doesn't have toughness. If it were a pain management issue, I have no doubt that Casey Thompson would be playing. But it is a physical ability to hold the football issue, which is kind of a non-negotiable here. I don't know what to, I mean, there's really no way around that unless you want to tape it to his hand and have him run out there and just run option all the time, which doesn't seem like a good idea either.
Since he left, the offense left with him. So can he please return the offense?
Did I hear this right? Is it 1 touchdown in 10 and a half quarters without him?
They've gone 7 straight quarters without a touchdown.
The last one was first drive against Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the only touchdown they've scored without Casey Thompson since he went out.
So they've gone 20 straight possessions without a touchdown.
That's pretty bad.
But I'm going to, so I said this on Big Red Overreaction. Again, I was not enamored by Michigan. Okay. They ho-hummed it. They knew they had Nebraska beat when it was 7-0, which is, you want to hit rock bottom. They toyed with Nebraska. I mean, I still not understand Harbaugh throwing the football. There was no need for them to attempt a forward pass.
I think they were practicing.
Well, they should practice because you know what?
I thought.
Hey, their deep ball wasn't good. I thought Nebraska's defensive backs did a really good job. I mean, there was not a lot of separation that was going on, but Michigan's passing game was not impressive at all. But when Nebraska is like their best drive of the game before Purdy got hurt and on the drive that he got hurt, it would have been really, maybe that would have kickstarted Michigan, but it would have been really interesting to see if somehow Nebraska, as clunky as they were, worked their way down the field and somehow Purdy ran into the end zone and he got lost and he ended up in the end zone. And all of a sudden it's 14-7. And you're like, what's going on here?
Yeah, I mean,
that's
I don't
what
think
I was
it
starting to
changes
think.
the outcome.
I think it changes how Michigan probably attacks things. Again, when they were up 7-0, they're like,
yeah, I mean, I thought
you got no chance of coming back here. We're up 7-0.
I thought they used it a lot like a scrimmage where they were trying some things out. They were trying to dial in McCarthy with his deep ball, which has been a little off all year. Their passing game wasn't particularly impressive, but so do they maybe change things up a little bit? Probably at that point, but I mean, this thing was a matter of whether it's going to be, 41-7 or 34-3. I mean, that's all
they named their score, which is what we were saying last week.
It was just a matter of what's the final going to be, or if they're going to cover. It wasn't a matter of, I saw some people, and I don't think this is what you're saying. Correct me if I'm wrong. That were like, well, if Chubba doesn't get hurt, it's 14-7, and all of a sudden, it's like, come on, did you watch that game at all? Michigan was just doing whatever they wanted. They were treating that like a live practice period. That was not.
Telling you, it would have been very intriguing if they would have fallen into the end zone to score, and all of a sudden it's 14-7. You're like, how is this 14-7? And then what Michigan would have done? I was not enamored by Michigan at all. I don't know what the hell the clock management was in the end of the first half. You know what? Maybe you have one of those games a year where you sleepwalk. But remember, you're playing for a playoff. There's no guarantee that Michigan is in the playoff.
No, I mean, they have to win out to guarantee that spot, right? I mean,
yeah, they seem to be putting their eggs in that last basket.
They lose to Ohio State. That's obviously a huge knock against them. I don't think we're in a spot where we can say, yeah, the Big Ten's definitely getting 2 teams. I think the winner of that Ohio State-Michigan game, because I'm assuming they'll win the Big Ten at that point because the West is a dumpster fire. You feel
they actually are going to play again.
They honestly they should just be like, hey, we're going to do a best of 3.
For the college football fan, they're going to play back-to-back weeks, so you don't have to send the West Division team to Indianapolis.
That would be a mercy to everyone involved, especially us, the fans, who don't want to have to watch Ohio State, especially if it ends up being Ohio State, just destroy an Iowa or whoever. I mean, I have no interest in watching a Big Ten East versus Big Ten West Big Ten championship game. The Big Ten championship game takes place with Ohio State and Michigan. They just have a nice exhibition after that the following week. But yeah, there's no guarantee that whoever loses that Ohio State Michigan game is getting into the playoff, especially I have no idea what's going to happen with the SEC. That whole West is like the good version of the Big Ten West. Like if all the teams in the Big Ten West were good, it would look like the SEC West, where everybody's like, hey, there's like 4 of us that I think could make the college football playoff here, but we're all going to take 2 losses. Yeah, that's the bizarro version of what's happening in the Big Ten West right now, where it's like, hey, I don't think any of us are probably good enough to make a bowl game, but because we have to play each other, somebody's going to end up with 7 or 8 wins. That's, a totally different scenario here, but weirdly kind of the same thing.
Yeah. We will talk about the weekend in college football, of course, in the NFL. I noticed you got your Niners hat on.
Yeah, nice little win.
That was a really good win. Healthy Super Bowl contender. No
Absolutely.
doubt. No doubt.
They're especially in the NFC, which is kind of up for grabs.
I should say thank you. You helped us out in the AFC West.
I do what I can.
Thank you.
I try
appreciate that.
Try and help out.
We'll see if we can reciprocate down the road.
I would appreciate that.
Okay.
Do what you, just a little pay it forward.
Well, we got Seattle later in.
We need some help there.
All right.
Would not have anticipated that. Need a little help.
No, there is Monday Night Football tonight. Philadelphia, which is trying to make a run at an unbeaten season. They take on Washington. Coming up also tonight here on the Zone. For God's sake, I know it's a Marcus Blossom game. That game. Check the line on Creighton and Holy Cross tonight.
Oh, I haven't looked at the line.
Yeah, that when you don't have anybody over 6'6" in your starting lineup,
could be a problem.
That could be an issue.
Yeah,
that could be an issue. Creighton is back home tonight to take on Holy Cross at a very, very fan and kid-friendly 8:00 tip-off on a Monday night.
26.5, 8:00.
Oh yeah,
man.
It's one of those odd Big East games that's on CBS Sports Network.
I hate those. I hate them.
So they're playing at 8:00 on a Monday night in the middle of November.
I have no idea why. I understand why it happens during the Big East conference schedule for television purposes. I have no idea why any of Creighton's non-conference home games are at 8 p.m. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Or this one being on CBS Sports Network, because it's not going to be like super competitive.
No, it's not. I mean, usually CBS Sports Network gets the worst of the Big East games, so that makes more sense.
Have they always carried some non-con?
I don't know about non-con
until the conference.
Yeah, usually they get the bad conference season games, like Creighton DePaul ends up on CBS Sports Network a lot. I don't remember them carrying non-con games though.
This is also the start of the Big Ten Big East Challenge.
Not for Creighton, obviously. Holy Cross.
No.
Holy Cross.
Unless you want to start another.
We don't have breaking news about Holy Cross.
Not unless all of a sudden that's our breaking news.
There's
for
a
the
big
day.
announcement to take coming from the Big Ten. Holy Cross joining the league.
Yeah, I don't know how well that would go over.
That would have been a big deal about 70 years ago.
Jesus, if you have Gordy Lockbaum,
Bob Cousy.
I mean, yeah, I'd be all for it.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's run Bob Cousy out here.
So 8:00 tonight. Hey, everybody, have your kids, sleep in, get a little nap. 8:00 on a Monday night. Thank you for TV. They never accommodate radio.
They really don't.
They never say, you know what, those radio guys are hardworking. They pay the money.
They
pay fees.
Game.
I mean, why can't we have like a normal 7:05 game? But no, on a Monday night, we have an 8:00 game. And Pete Gillen is here, which is amazing.
Just in general?
Well, he's dead. Don't you remember Rex Chapman?
Yes. There's the break.
In the NCAA tournament last March?
Yeah.
He said that Pete Gillen's dead.
Rest in peace, Pete Gillen.
Pete Gillen's going to be here tonight. Pete Gillen might be the greatest comeback story in the history of college basketball.
Is it?
Way to bury the lead 30 minutes into the show.
We bury the lead. We don't bury Pete Gillen.
No. I mean, people should go up to Pete Gillen tonight and go, thank you.
Congrats on being alive, Pete.
When Rex Chapman said you were dead, I was worried because I had talked to you recently.
Yeah, it's like I was either I talked to somebody who looked a lot like Pete Gillen or I was losing my mind a little bit. But no, Pete Gillen, as far as we know, alive and well.
So there's more from this weekend with Nebraska football moving forward. We'll get into Mickey's comment that he said after the game about recruiting. That kind of rubbed people the wrong way. It should not, because I don't think it rubs players the wrong way. If they don't already know that Nebraska needs to upgrade their talent, then you're in the wrong place and you're in a gots-to-go situation. But I think I know exactly when Mickey mentioned recruiting, and it's not like it's the first time, what he was alluding to. Not just you got to beat the path, but how they have to go about recruiting. And ironically, they made an offer to Isaiah McMorris, the junior wide receiver at Bellevue West, Who in the Metro does not have an offer? That's one of the more
That's deserving.
storylines.
Yeah,
The storylines over the last 2 months with Mickey as an interim is everybody in the Metro that right now is probably worthy of a scholarship offer from Nebraska has gotten one.
absolutely. Which is a great move on his part, by the way.
It's great for first of all the optics, but also they realize that some guys can play football, and it's okay to offer them a scholarship. Okay,
And it's okay
on the second go around when you evaluate
yes.
a player in your own state, which a lot of players in the state of Nebraska need that second evaluation, whether it be in person, whether it be on film, not just at a camp where they don't throw well. And I think that's what Mickey has spearheaded with Nebraska kids is let's give them an extra look. You know what? We didn't all agree when we went around the table. Let's do this again because we've seen him play a little bit more. Mm-hmm. What do we think? And after the second evaluation and also having a sense of what your roster looks like, you say, okay, that guy gets an offer. And so Isaiah McMorris is the latest to get an offer from Nebraska over the weekend.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to see the coaching staff, like you said, give some of these guys a second chance, but also trust their evaluations a little bit on what they're seeing on film, not just like you said at camps or in workouts or whatever the case is there. And it's, there's a lot of these guys aren't finished products or as good as they're going to be when you evaluate them the first time around. A lot of these guys make a leap, especially in the Metro, from that sophomore to junior year. They look like entirely different guys, and they deserve an evaluation once they're closer to who they're going to be as a prospect. I think a lot of other schools have been in the past a lot better about looking at Nebraska guys when they're closer to being a finished product than Nebraska has. And you've seen that in the offers that go out. I also appreciate, I know Isaiah's got a lot of other, not a lot, he's already gotten some Power 5 offers. I also appreciate, though, that it's not an offer that necessarily comes directly on the heels of like, oh crap, somebody else offered this guy. We got to go out there and get an offer because we didn't get it yet. I'd like them to be a little more proactive, which it seems like they have been about getting these guys offers, not just reacting to, oh, Kansas State offer him, we got to give him an offer.
All right, let me give you the lineup for the show brought to you by the Roofers at John Higgins Weather Guard. Dylan Travis, who a lot of people in this community know is assistant basketball coach over at Omaha Westside. He also in the world is known as one of the best 3-on-3 players. So he will join us, and he is starting to rack up like awards and medals and Olympic possibilities. We think he is in, I want to say, Saudi Arabia today. Or he is in, I think he's in Saudi Arabia when we talk to him. He's coming up at 7:30. So hopefully he's got his cell phone ready to take a call from us.
Yeah, hopefully
he's traveling. He's traveling the world.
International minutes going.
Yeah. So we've got a really good 3-ball team here in Omaha.
Yeah.
Mitch Hahn, who used to play at Omaha, is part of that, and they're highly successful. But there's a possibility that a local guy could be making a trip to the Olympics. Coming up now that 3x3 is what they call it. It's not 3-on-3. 3x3 is part of the Olympics.
Listen, I'm all for it. I know some people think it's a little goofy. I think it's pretty fun. I also, if you think about it, it kind of makes sense. A lot of these sports have different variations of kind of what they do, and those things make the Olympics. I think it's pretty fun to watch. I watched it in last year's, or whenever the last Olympics was. Last year, right? They played in, pretty entertaining. It's a different style. There's different strategies in it for sure. But it's a really high skill level. I'd honestly like to see the NBA adopt some of these things because listen, the All-Star game is weird. Nobody really cares about that. They adopted some of these type of 3x3 events for either All-Star, or they've talked about an in-season tournament, things like that. Instead of just throwing out more games that people don't want to play in and that your superstars are going to sit out anyway, do something creative. Run some 3x3 tournaments. Give guys a shot. Maybe have them play some of the U.S. 3-on-3 teams that aren't in the NBA. See how they stack up against some of those with guys that have played together. Listen, there's a lot of fun things you could do with this. I'm a fan.
See, in the NBA, I would put together guys that don't like each other. And force
you mean like the Nets did?
Yeah. You just basically have
perfectly
Kyrie,
tight
KD,
end.
and Simmons all together.
Anybody in James Harden.
Yes. Also, Jimmy Watkins will stop by. This is the final time that Jimmy's going to be with us. Today is actually his last day at the World Herald. He is moving closer to home, so he's going back and he's going to work in Cleveland. So he will be leaving the Nebraska basketball beat and also his Nebraska football duties. So we will say goodbye to him. It'll get very teary. We'll share memories of our time with Jimmy.
We're going to play,
we started Jimmy being a regular on the show back in January.
You think it has anything to do with the state of Husker athletics? He's like, I got to get out of here, man.
I tried to get him to say that, but he said no.
He wouldn't go that far.
No, he is. He's got a great opportunity that maybe he'll share. But he'll join us coming up at 9, and then Joel Lorenzi will join us at 9:30 to talk Creighton, the Big East, and more. Because as bad as last week was with college basketball and the games,
it gets better.
And then we had to shoehorn them all into Friday
for some reason. Yeah.
This week gets better.
Gets a lot better. Yeah.
Week number 2 of the college basketball season is going to be a little bit better beginning tomorrow when you get the Champions Classic.
We have real games.
We have real games that matter that will matter in March.
I'm excited. It's not all bye games this week.
No.
Which is probably a good thing for Louisville.
Yeah. Or Florida State or the Pac-12. Yeah, which all had bad weeks to open up. All right, off and running, 43 past the hour. Robbie's in today. There's Jimmy. I'm Gary on 1620 The Zone.
Mornings on 1620 The Zone is brought to you by MD West One Orthopedics, Neurosurgery, and Spine. Previously on Unsportsmanlike Conduct.
Remember, his brother might be in line to get back into head coaching at some point.
He also might just love the NFL.
And he's been in the NFL. We looked it up. Vance Joseph hasn't coached in college in a long time. You might need to lay down the law and say, no, we're going to do it this way. And then are you arguing as brothers, or are you arguing as coaches, or are you arguing as a superior to a subordinate?
Unsportsmanlike Conduct with John Bishop and Josh Peterson. Weekdays 2 to 6 on 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast from the Godfather's Pizza Weather Center and KETV News Watch 7 on 1620 The Zone.
Mainly cloudy and chilly Monday with the chance for a few flurries as we get closer to lunchtime. More flurries possible late in the day with snow developing southeast of the metro. Highs in the mid-30s. I'm meteorologist Sean Everson from KETV News Watch 7.
1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Burton AC Heating, Plumbing, and More Time-Saving Traffic Center, we have an accident in cleanup mode right now on I-80 East and 60th Street at exit number 450. And please proceed with caution as there is a disabled vehicle on 120th and I Street. Remember to buckle those seatbelts. I'm Dan Campanen.
This time-saving traffic was brought to you by Burton AC Heating, Plumbing, and More.
Hi, I'm Mark Evans, owner of Burton AC Heating, Plumbing, and More. Right now, we'll open your drain line for only $93 or it's free. Call for details or request service at justcallburton.com.
The post-workout glow at Planet Fitness doesn't just feel great. It feels 80s pump-up jam great.
Because when you got the glow, there is no stopping what you want to do.
And now when you become a PF Black Card member, your glow can be even greater with a free Amazon Halo Fitness Tracker.
Get the glow.
Get the PF Black Card for zero enrollment and just $24.99 a month. Bring a friend, enjoy massage chairs, and get a free Amazon Halo View. Deal ends November 15th. Subject to taxes, fees, and commitments. See Club for details.
Thank you to everyone who voted for MD West One in the Best of Omaha contest. We are thrilled to announce MD West One has been named the #1 private medical practice in Omaha for 4 years in a row. MD West One is also named first place in the orthopedic surgery and neurosurgical spine surgery. Our 34 board certified surgeons specialize in treating every bone, joint, or muscle condition from head to toe. Go to MDWest1.com to meet the #1 place to go for orthopedic, neurosurgery, and spine.
It's time to gear up for the holiday season. Head over to NFLshop.com today for the largest collection of officially licensed gear from all your favorite brands. NFL Shop is your ultimate gifting destination for jerseys, t-shirts, headwear, and more. Take your game day style to the next level with the best selection of NFL gear anywhere. Show off your team pride this holiday season with styles fit for the whole family. To shop now, go to NFLshop.com.
At EasyCater, food for work is our thing. Maybe that's why we get orders from 93% of Fortune 500 companies. So what's up with the other 7%?
So sorry the food is late.
You should order through EasyCater. Professionally delivered on time and as ordered.
Totally would, but the E is broken on my keyboard.
Just get IT to fix it.
Totally would. Can't type the word help.
Why don't all companies order through EasyCater? Who knows? Order 24/7 from over 95,000 restaurants on EasyCater.com. EasyCater, food for work. That's our thing.
1620 The Zone, back on the road each home game Friday with our good friends at Jones Bros Cupcakes and Cafe in Exarban Village. We'll break down all the big games around college football, including the Husker game. Each home game Friday, $6 breakfast entrees. We're doing the show there on location. You know what? If you're the first 20 people that come in and mention 1620 The Zone, you're going to get breakfast free during the show. So get a $6 breakfast when you're at Jones Bros Cupcakes and Cafe in Exarban Village. Plus, you can sign up to win tickets and prizes every home game Friday on 1620 The Zone.
Meet Joe A,
Hi.
Joe B,
Hello.
and Joe C.
What's up?
3 everyday Joes perfecting their banking with Chase. Joe A is locking his lost debit card with the Chase mobile app. Joe B is cruising toward his new ride with Autosave. And Joe C's Chase banker is helping him budget to go back to school. Tools that help protect, support for what's next. One bank that puts you in control. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Messaging and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC. 1620 The Zone.
All right, welcome back in. 48 past the hour on this Monday morning. How's everybody doing? Everybody getting up on a Monday, refreshed, hoping, praying, hoping that you'll get out of bed and you'll rule the day?
You know, I think that's a good attitude to get up with on a Monday morning.
I mean, it's
real.
I mean, just to get out of bed is probably a matter-of-fact thing, right?
Yeah, well, for most people. If you don't get out of bed, you're probably not listening to us at this point, I wouldn't imagine.
That'd be true. That'd be true. Or you're being bombarded by Christmas ads in the middle of November, which seemed to somebody flipped the switch this weekend.
Yeah.
And Christmas was.
They got into our sports. If you're watching a lot of sports this weekend, the Christmas ads have taken over.
Yeah, I think it started with the John Hamm World Cup ads a few weeks ago. They were the first to go. They were the first domino to fall, which is funny because this thing, I know that's like a month-long tournament, right? But the World Cup literally starts before Thanksgiving, and they're like pitching it as a Christmas. I think it's a little confusing if you don't know the dates. You're like, oh, it's happening over Christmas. It's like, well, kind of, but mostly it's happening before Thanksgiving. If you're talking about the U.S. especially, you know, and so it's a little confusing. The marketing message is a little muddled there.
It is to have the World Cup in November in a place where it's 115 degrees.
Yes, and also
but USA 1 week from today, red, white, and blue.
Wales.
Hey, if they're wearing red, white, and blue, I will jump on board.
Listen, I love the World Cup. I really do. I like soccer quite a bit. I follow the Premier League a little. I don't watch a lot of MLS. It's not real good soccer. But the World Cup's a big deal. I love the World Cup. I'm excited for it. I hope the U.S. performs well. I'm not holding my breath, but I'll watch most of it anyway. It's honestly one of the best just sports products in the world. It just really is. And that's not a hot take. There's 4 billion people outside the U.S. that understand that, but I enjoy watching it a ton. I think it's super entertaining.
And it's entertaining when you're around fellow USAers.
Yeah, you got to go to a bar, like to a watch party. Yeah. That's the atmosphere. You'll enjoy it a lot more.
I mean, the American Outlaws are
they're
sleeping.
Yeah, they're a big deal. They've got are they still watch them at Barley Street? Is that where I think that their watch parties are? And that's not the only one. There's a bunch of I think some of our friends in Benson have watch parties.
Yes. The last time that the US was in the World Cup, I was at Barry's in Lincoln doing shots with Jake Cotton.
There you go.
I had no idea who I was, but Jake Cotton was being Neanderthalish, and he was just buying shots for people.
There you go.
I was like, who am I to turn down a shot from a inebriated offensive lineman at Nebraska?
It's the least you can do.
Yeah. But he at least paid the tab. I mean,
good on him.
Nice guy.
Even in the pre-NIL days, look at him.
Yeah. But he's got to understand when you're that big and that tight of a crowd, you can't just do whatever you want to do.
No, you got to be a little bit more reserved.
You got to know your space.
Yeah, you got to listen. Offensive linemen don't know their own size a lot of times when they're around civilians. It's a problem. Basketball players have the same issue sometimes.
I mean, can you imagine offensive linemen that are sleeker and more athletic that could weave in and out of crowds
I dream
and,
about it.
and push the pile away from the bar so you can move up there.
Pushing the pile. That's a new
Yeah.
thing.
Yes.
Is that something they're allowed to do?
Well, you have to have the athletes and the identity to do that.
To clear out the bar space.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's very subtle on what happened on Saturday. that we will
Excellent tie-in
discuss.
of segments.
Well, I mean, it's just that's another part of this. The Saturday, there's like so demoralizing, and there was nothing Nebraska can do.
No,
and you can look at that and go, you know what? Credit to Harbaugh. In the COVID year, where things were upside down, whether it be on or off the field with Michigan, and you looked at Michigan play in the COVID year, and maybe at some point we'll just discard the COVID year for everybody, whether you were good or bad.
Yeah,
I mean, Jimbo Fisher's best year was during the COVID year, and look where they're at now.
I think it's a total outlier.
But you watch Michigan and you're like, man, that doesn't feel like a Michigan team.
Mm-hmm.
And then in a short amount of time, for the last 2 years, that looks and feels like a Michigan football team, how they should be built.
Yeah,
this looks exactly like Michigan should. And
I mean, they're tough, they're physical, and then you drop in some elite talent.
Yeah, you drop in some elite skill position players. You've got, and listen, I know McCarthy didn't look good, but he's an upgrade from what they've had at quarterback in years past. And, he has moments where he is pretty talented and shows that. But this is, I mean, you said it, there was nothing Nebraska could do. This was not they got out-coached or out-schemed on the day. As a program, they have been out-coached. But this wasn't a Harbaugh's just out there dialing stuff up. Michigan just physically and mentally demoralized Nebraska, basically from the jump, and they knew it. They knew it. That's the biggest problem is Michigan knew that there was nothing that Nebraska could do to stop them from doing what they wanted to do.
Yeah, I mean,
and they acted like it.
That game was over well before Nebraska got on the plane to go to Ann Arbor.
I mean, that's how we talked about it last week. Yeah. I could not have imagined a scenario where Nebraska won that game. It was only a scenario about how Nebraska might cover.
How many points Michigan would score. And I feel bad that I said Nebraska would get 10 because it was apparent in the first quarter. I was like, well, I was like,
oh, yeah, they're not
getting 10.
They're
lucky to get 3.
Thank God for Bleekrod. It was hit 7 in a row. Thank God for the punter.
That's right. Hey, it's not special.
Now, there were a couple of things that did happen that caught my eye that we will discuss as we roll till 10. Next hour, Dylan Travis will join us. So we'll talk 3x3. I know I can't call it 3-on-3. It's 3x3.
Which is just going against 30 years of programming in my brain.
Yes.
I just it's like, or like in soccer, they'll do these tournaments called 3v3.
Yeah.
3x3 is just it's a little bit outside of my brain hemisphere right now. I'm trying to bring it in. It's really hard though.
Jimmy Watkins for the last time coming up at 9. Maybe he'll tell everybody who is going to take his place. That's a hot topic. Who will be the new Nebraska men's basketball beat writer? They have selected somebody. I don't think they've announced it publicly.
Oh, is that the Nebraska announcement we've been waiting on?
There it is.
No, Nebraska Athletics actually has an announcement today, like this morning. Probably in the next 2 hours at least.
Yeah?
Yeah. Something that people have been anticipating.
You care to share anything?
It's not. It has nothing to do with football.
Dollar beer Saturday.
They're going to announce something that everybody has been wondering about. It has nothing to do with football.
They're selling beer at games.
Just for Saturday. Keep you warm.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Saturday's going to be bring your own. We're not going to frisk it, nothing like that.
Yeah, just like, listen.
Come on in.
Stay warm. Do what you got to do.
It's really going to be 20 degrees.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I was excited when we got tickets to the game 3 months ago. Now I'm like,
you should have known better, man.
Well,
Come on.
It's my wife's birthday. It's what she wanted.
Well, I think your wife might want something more than that.
Now,
I have to give it to her.
Yeah. Yeah.
You up for that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
Also, Joel Lorenzi will join us.
Yes, he will.
8:00 tip tonight between Creighton and Holy Cross.
Yeah, you got to get that thing in prime time.
It is the Marcus Blossom, let me put this together game.
Yeah,
then he gives Holy Cross, his former school, a spot on CBS Sports Network. That's a heck of a deal for that school.
It's a Blossom Bowl. What's a heck of a deal now? It may not be as big of a. It may not seem as generous when they're losing by 40.
Hey, this is a win-win for Holy Cross. They roll into Omaha. They probably stayed at the Marriott. Nice place.
Yeah.
Okay. The food is good.
Good meal.
They're going to get a nice little paycheck. They're going to play on national TV.
They're going to lose by 40.
Yeah, at the end of the day, doesn't matter. Just worry about your conference tournament.
I'm just saying, maybe those aren't the games you want to have nationally televised.
We're back with more of 1620 The Zone in the mornings after this.
Kevin Harlan here from Monday Night Football on Westwood One. Coming up, NFC East action when the 8-0 Philadelphia Eagles play host to the Washington Commanders. Can Jalen Hurts and the Eagles keep their undefeated record on track? Join Ross Tucker and me to find out. Don't miss any of the action on Monday Night Football.
If it's the NFL, it's on 1180 The Zone.
Hey everyone, Josh Peterson here from my friends at Kugler Vision. If you have money sitting in your flex plan or in your health savings account, it is time for an early holiday gift for yourself. I am talking about LASIK with my friends at Kugler Vision. Visit their website today, kuglervision.com. Let them know that you are sick of bad vision and you are ready to see if you qualify to have one of their 7 vision correction procedures. 402-558-2211 or online at kuglervision.com.
Right now, buy $500 or more in gorgeous Greenberg's jewelry and receive an additional set of 1/3 carat diamond stud earrings valued at $500 for free. Spend $1,000 or more to receive an additional 1/3 carat diamond bezel pendant valued at $1,000 for free. Spend $3,000 or more in fabulous Greenberg's jewelry and receive an additional 1 carat diamond tennis bracelet valued at $3,000 absolutely free during the pre-holiday extravaganza at Greenberg's. But don't wait. This offer ends Black Friday weekend or while supplies last. Some restrictions apply. It's the perfect opportunity to buy 2 fabulous gifts for the holidays for the price of 1. Or maybe you want to keep one for yourself during Greenberg's Jewelers pre-holiday extravaganza. Greenberg's Jewelers, a cut above the rest. Westroads Mall.
Many people go back to the dealership out of habit or because they think the dealer is the only one who knows how to fix their car. At Omaha Car Care, we offer a better option. We have ASE certified technicians, the technology to service any vehicle, and free loaner cars. The dealer will sell you a package of services. We'll provide the service you want for your car as your trusted partner. I'm Rick Betker, owner of Omaha Car Care, and we'll be along for the ride.
This view was worth a hike.
Right? And it's a good way to stay on top of my health.
Yes, I'm Cologuard, a prescription colon cancer screening option for people 45 plus at average risk. Have you screened for colon cancer?
Not yet.
Don't wait. It's more treatable when caught in early stages.
Tell me more.
Cologuard is non-invasive and it's used at home. It detects altered DNA in your stool to find 92% of colon cancers.
92%?
Yep, even those in early stages.
This was seen in a clinical study with patients 50 and older. Any positive result should be followed by a diagnostic colonoscopy. False positive and negative results may occur. Cologuard is not a replacement for colonoscopy in high-risk patients. Do not use if you have had adenomas, have inflammatory bowel disease and certain hereditary syndromes, or a personal or family history of colon cancer.
Most insured patients pay $0. Ask your provider or an online prescriber if Cologuard is right for you, or visit Cologuard.com.
I'm in.
Hi, everybody. I'm Gary Sharp, and it's time for some MAC action at Baxter Arena. As your Omaha Mavericks men's basketball team, they take on the Ball State Cardinals on Wednesday night. Airtime, 7 o'clock. Tip-off, 7:37. Don't be late. Right here on News Talk 1290 KOIL.
At EasyCater, food for work is our thing. Maybe that's why we get orders from 93% of Fortune 500 companies. So what's up with the other 7%?
So sorry the food is late.
You should order through EasyCater. Professionally delivered on time and as ordered.
Totally would, but the E is broken on my keyboard.
Just get IT to fix it.
Totally would. Can't type the word help.
Why don't all companies order through EasyCater? Who knows? Order 24/7 from over 95,000 restaurants on EasyCater.com. EasyCater, food for work. It's our thing.
Hi there, I'm your host, Dog, filling in for the human who's normally here and bringing you the smells and sounds of the holidays, courtesy of Beggin' Dog Treats.
We wish you a begging Christmas. We wish you a begging Christmas. Dog rest ye merry Doberman, let begging you acquire. Deck the halls with strips of begging. Arf, 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 arf.
Remember, for bacon-loving dog excitement this holiday,
It's begging!
MD West One's team of neurosurgical spine specialists is the largest and most advanced in the greater Omaha metro. MD West One has been voted the #1 private practice and #1 in neurosurgery and spine by Best of Omaha year after year. They can help if you're suffering from recurring neck and back pain, weakness or numbness in your extremities, sciatica pain, or any other recurring issues stemming from your neck or back. Go to mdwest1.com to meet the spine team at MD West One.
Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone.
Mornings on 1620 The Zone, brought to you by MD West One, Orthopedics, Neurosurgery, and Spine.
1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Burton AC Heating, Plumbing, and More Time-Saving Traffic Center, we've got minor slowdowns just beginning on Dodge Street going both east and west, starting at 72nd and ending at 90th Street, as well as an accident on I-80 West just before US 275 causing stop-and-go traffic, and you can expect delays up to 5 minutes there. We also still have that accident in the cleanup phase on I-80 East at the 60th Street exit number 450. Remember to buckle those seatbelts. I'm Dan Campanen.
This time-saving traffic is brought to you by Saul's Jewelry and Loan.
What does Saul's loan on? Almost everything, like tools, instruments, designer handbags, construction equipment, vehicles, trailers, appliances. $10 to $50,000 super fast and easy with no credit check. Saul's loans on almost everything.
If you're looking for a great way to win free tickets to see the Huskers take on Wisconsin at Memorial Stadium, then I got the hookup for you. All you have to do is head over to ticketsforless.com/contest to sign up for your Husker football ticket giveaway. The deadline to sign up is November 14th, so be sure to head over to ticketsforless.com/contest now to sign up. And while you're there, be sure to check out the other great ticket advantages to other great contests that Tickets for Less has running. And you can always shop the best selection of tickets to your favorite events too at ticketsforless.com.
Want to do something nice for a veteran? Stop by any 42 Degree location and receive an extra discount with your donation of can or box food and hygiene products for the Veterans Food Pantry of Omaha. 42 Degrees by your mom's house.
If you're like most Americans, you can see things are out of control. Global problems have local consequences, too many of them. And if the next news headline spins us into chaos, you'd better be ready. Grocery store supply chains are only as strong as their weakest link. Don't wait for them to break. Today's the day to secure emergency food for everyone in your family. My Patriot Supply is America's largest preparedness company. Our specially packaged and delicious food stays fresh for up to 25 years in storage. It'll be there when you need it. Go to mypatriotsupply.com and pick up several emergency food kits. There are a dozen different sizes that average over 2,000 calories per day. As we all know, calories equals energy equals survival. And as you'd expect from a true preparedness company, our food kits are in stock and ship quickly. Those who know what's coming are preparing today. Go to mypatriotsupply.com. mypatriotsupply.com.
Email any of our shows anytime into the Equitable Bank inbox. At Equitable, we take banking personally. For me, John at 1620thezone.com. The Equitable Bank inbox from 1620 The Zone.
Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information. Subscription required.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 90% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/radio. At Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the biggest brands at 90% off. That's right, get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but 90% cheaper. It's the same medication you get from your doctor, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/radio. That's 4hims.com/radio for your free online visit. FORHIMS.com/RADIO.
The post-workout glow at Planet Fitness doesn't just feel great. It feels 80s pump-up jam great.
Cause when you got the glow, there is no stopping what you want to do.
And now when you become a PF Black Card member, your glow can be even greater with a free Amazon Halo Fitness Tracker.
Get the glow.
Get the PF Black Card for zero enrollment and just $24.99 a month. Bring a friend, enjoy massage chairs, and get a free Amazon Halo View. Deal ends November 15th. Subject to taxes, fees, and commitment. See Club for details.
Standard Heating and Air Conditioning is and has always been locally owned and operated. Now, with 160 employee owners, chances are one of us lives in your neighborhood. We take pride in taking care of you, our customers, and keeping you comfortable all year round. And as always, our technicians don't have sales quotas. When other companies send salespeople, Standard sends qualified technicians. It's just part of.
Carrier, turn to the experts.
This is Scott Schultz from Host Coffee. 2022 marks our 50th year and business has never been better. We continue to grow and add new customers. Many employers are looking for new ideas for their staff as people return to the office. Our pantry service is a great office amenity for staff and guests. Fresh food, snacks, coffee, water, and other beverages for employees and guests. Enhance your office experience with pantry service from Host Coffee. Learn more at hostcoffee.net.
Shop Woodhouse Place Hyundai and Nissan, 144th and Giles. KOZN, Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs.
Wikipedia is having a field day.
Love Wikipedia.
Did you know, because Matt Rule he's now the University of Nebraska football coach on his Wikipedia page?
Yes, according to
anybody can edit a Wikipedia page.
Yes, that is accurate. That is the open source feature of Wikipedia.
That's where I learned Aaron Rodgers owns the Dallas Cowboys and was confirmed again yesterday.
Earlier this year, James Franklin was the new head coach at Nebraska.
Really?
Don't know if you knew that. Yeah, there was a minute there.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah,
I don't know that before that.
A lot of people were not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I went in and edited somebody's Wikipedia page that appears on this radio station.
Yeah.
I don't know that I ever went back and changed it.
Would you like to share what the edit was?
Just added some information that may not have been true, but it was not hurtful.
So you were.
Yeah. I just thought they needed to spice up their little.
You were not contributing to the validity of Wikipedia.
No, Wikipedia can be good for some things.
It's really good for
probably not in coaching searches.
Not in coaching searches. It is really good for coaches' histories, where you can see like where they've been and where they've been random assistants and stuff. That's really nice. I also use it a lot for filmographies for actors and actresses and see what they've been in. That's usually my go-to.
Oh, just stay away from the coaching search. You want to know who's going to be the next coach at Auburn? Don't go to Lane Kiffin's page.
Yeah, no, that's what the message boards are for, right?
Yes. And the smoke signals. And for people like Michigan Lance. Well, I'm really surprised you called us this morning on the Monday after the Michigan-Nebraska game.
Good morning, boys.
Good morning.
How you doing?
Good. How are you doing?
Hey, have you guys ever seen Kings of Comedy with Bernie Mac, Steve Harvey?
Yes.
You guys ever seen that?
Yeah, where is this going?
Huh?
I got a feeling I know where this is going, but continue on, Lance.
Well, you remember Cedric the Entertainer had a bit, and he was like, white people hope, like when they're going to like white people hope and black people wish. And like, so when they're going to like a concert or a game, well, I hope nobody's in our seat. And black people was like, I wish somebody would be in our seat. Well, I wish that Scott Frost was still the head coach in Nebraska, because I truly believe that Harbaugh would have ran the score up on him due to their history when he was back at Central Florida and he tried to call Harbaugh's team soft. So that's what I was wishing for this season, but he didn't last that long. But, you know, like you guys said, one thing you said that was I really paid attention to, Gary, on Saturday is like, it feels like Mickey wants to play like how Michigan is playing, like, you know, their team and their, you know, offense, defense, and all that stuff. And Harbaugh's playing like he wants to play. He still has that base run game, offensive line, and he was like this even when he first got there, when the line wasn't as good as it is now or has been, you know, these past couple years. but he stuck to it and got people, other offensive coordinators, offensive people, to want to do all that RPO stuff. But the base is the run game, and that's what he is. He's true to that. And the D line and tight end. So you can have both. And I think that's where you get people like the Ohio States and the Alabamas, to where they had both at one time, but they've kind of veered from that and went too RPO heavy. And you see in their offensive line and their run game, they're not as potent, and that's why I'm confident in that Michigan-Ohio State game. You guys understand what I'm saying?
I got you. I just want my hesitation about Ohio State, because I picked them to win the national championship, is I don't know who's going to run the football for them. I mean, they suffered another major injury at running back. I mean, it's a game of attrition. That game will be a nice little chess match. I mean, I like Michigan. I mean, Michigan is built really, really well. I just wasn't enamored with them on Saturday, and I'm sure that they will turn around and they will smack Illinois next week, and everything will be fine. I mean, they're definitely one of the top 4 teams in the country. But that game that's going to be a weird game in Columbus, because Ohio State's health is all over the map. You maybe they get somebody back. They're going to try and make up for what happened last year. Ohio State, I think, is a 4-point favorite in that game right now, which is probably not surprising considering they're playing at home.
Right, most definitely. But the running backs aren't even I understand that, but even if those backs was there, I'm still not fearful of them, because their O-line is still not the Urban Meyer O-line.
No,
you know what I mean?
No, it is not.
So that's why I'm not. I understand the backs, but that O-line is still not that good. And that's why people aren't fearing Alabama as much anymore either, because their O-line isn't what it was. And, I understand people were talking about the touchdown or no touchdown and the spot or whatever. And that, I've come to the last couple of years, like,
that was a bad
things
call.
like that just happen in football, whether it was out of bounds or it was a touchdown. Like, it's just always those type of plays that happen in football. Nobody cares or remembers that in 2016, Michigan, JT Barrett, they got a bad spot. JT Barrett didn't get that first down. And if he doesn't, Michigan wins the game. And I think the next couple years of Harbaugh's trajectory is a little different, because 18, 19, and 20, they pretty much got blown out against Ohio State. But then also 2020 wasn't a good year at all.
Lance,
COVID, whatever you want to call
did you
it.
just
So,
compare one of
you
the
know
big?
what I mean?
Did you just compare one of the bigger moments in Michigan Ohio State history to what happened in the back of the end zone Saturday? Now, for some people, it did matter. That definitely mattered.
Yes, yeah, there was
that was a
financial
touchdown.
implications.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not comparing the moment. What I'm comparing is those type of plays and things happen in football, and you just like it. Just you look throughout every year, whatever team, like, you just can't get past that. I've come to the point of, all right, well, that's the play that, win or lose, that's the play that's just a bad play call, and it's just not. You saw Dallas and Green Bay last night. I mean, it was a pass interference and on Dak Prescott roughing the passer. Like, they didn't call neither one of them. It's like, man, what? Like, so it's just crazy. And are you guys Aaron Rodgers guys? Do you like Aaron Rodgers?
I liked him more like 3 years ago.
Well, I'm not an Aaron Rodgers guy, but I am going to defend. He was going after his coach. Like,
yeah, that was a bad series of play calls there on that particular drive.
Right, and they're trying to make Aaron. They show him it kind of makes him look more in a bad light. But you see that more often than not, where your players or the top players kind of go after the coach, and it's just a back and forth thing. So I'm not going to pile on Aaron for that. But I've never been an Aaron Rodgers guy. I'm a Bears fan, so I definitely and his personality, I never liked it even before everybody else started. Hey, Aaron is kooky, and what's wrong with him? I always thought he was a smug, arrogant guy that was overhyped by the media. Now, he's not bad. I'm not saying he's terrible, but the greatest of all time, ever and all that stuff. Him and Brett Favre have very similar careers. Brett Favre was overhyped as well. Of course, he's a Hall of Famer, but I'm just saying when you talk about the greatest of all time category. They're not in the Montanas and the Dan Marinos
And the
and the
Brady.
Tom Brady
Yep.
caliber. So,
All
all right, fellas, thank you.
Thanks, Lance. I'm glad he prefaced it by saying I'm a Bears fan.
I mean,
now Matt LaFleur had a bad the run the ball twice, then let 10, 15 seconds go off the clock, call timeout, all that stuff. He had bad clock management, but I think we're seeing of both of Rodgers and LaFleur being exposed when Aaron Rodgers is not as good as he's been in his MVP years and does not have that go-to wide receiver. Now, maybe Christian Watson, who, showed up yesterday for Green Bay, emerges to be that guy. But there's a lot of tension going on there. I mean, I can't imagine if they would have lost that football game.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there was quite a bit of tension
for some of us that
going in.
For some of us that were involved in that game, we were very happy that the Packers won the game. And they came back when they're down 28-14 because I almost shut it off because I'm like, man, I hated the card this weekend. I had a bad weekend.
You almost shut it down?
But I got saved by the Packers finding a way to win the game.
Yeah, you weren't very excited about it Friday.
I would have even entertained the Cowboys kicking a field goal to win 31-28. I'd be like, that's good.
It's fine by me.
Yeah.
Just real quick on Michigan, Lance there. Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers, not the same quarterback. I can't just let that slide without any acknowledgement that was said. Aaron Rodgers has fewer than 1/3 of the career interceptions than Brett Favre had. Just want to make sure that's well known and established.
People might forget though, Robbie, they each have a Super Bowl champion.
They do each only have one. That's fine. But let's just pump the brakes on Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers being the same guy. I needed that stated for the record here because that is inaccurate, Michigan Lance.
Remember, he said I'm a Bears fan.
That's fine.
Which is weird to be a Bears fan right now because you may not care about the rest of the season, but you're so excited that Justin Fields actually looks like he might give you something, and you've been so desperate to get a quarterback. So you're like 23, 23, 23, as you've now lost 3 in a row. It's a weird,
really
vibe
weird
from
dynamic.
Bears fans because they feel like they finally got the quarterback, but you're like, you know what? The rest of the year, whatever happens, happens. We got Justin Fields. That's the sense I get, especially after you lose to Detroit at home yesterday. We got Fields. We're fine. Hey, we'll see you in 23.
Yeah, no,
good luck out there, everybody.
They seem super excited for still being pretty bad at football, which is a weird dynamic for sure. I understand they're excited about the potential of Justin Fields. I think everybody's kind of always been tantalized by the potential of Justin Fields. He's still not exactly throwing the ball well.
Oh, we don't need him to throw the ball. Just run. We're going to get wide receivers around him.
I'm just saying, like, long term, at some point, your quarterback will likely have to throw a football, right?
It shows you how desperate the Bears have been for like a game-changing quarterback.
Like there's a ton of talent there.
In love with him.
Ton of talent there. He was like, listen, when the 49ers were drafting a couple years ago, and there was rumors of Mac Jones being taken at 3rd overall, I was throwing a fit because I didn't want Mac Jones. I wanted either Trey Lance or Justin Fields. So I get the excitement about Justin Fields. I really do. I'd love to see him in a Kyle Shanahan offense. That would be a lot of fun. And he probably holds up a little bit better than Trey Lance would because Justin Fields is built like a defensive end. But at some point, I understand it's fun to watch him run all over the field and score touchdowns and break off these 60-yard runs. At some point, he's going to have to throw the football consistently, right? Like, that's how this always works. We saw it with Cam Newton. We saw it with Michael Vick. We've seen it with all of the running quarterbacks. It's a nice part of the game as long as it's not your entire game. And right now, it's basically the biggest and maybe only positive to his game as a quarterback right now. So it's exciting, but also I would maybe temper my excitement a little bit until he shows that he can consistently make NFL throws.
They're going to have to find people around him, and that's what they're going to do in 23. But I mean, I get it. I'd be excited. I finally have a quarterback that is not going to be, at least gives you some hope for 23.
Sure, yeah. I mean, it's for,
but they're gonna have to spend around him, whether it be offensive line or pass catchers,
or all of the above.
I mean, Chase Claypool can't be one of your primary targets.
No, I wouldn't.
And then figure out what they're going to do with running back in Chicago.
Well, you don't need a running back. You have Justin Fields.
But what if he has to hand the ball off too? He just hand it off to himself.
Yeah, he would do like a fake self handoff, or that's
We call that a bootleg.
We call it the
bootleg action.
It'll be the first ever Wildcat where it's still just the quarterback. Just we got Justin Fields in at Wildcat. Wait, isn't he just your quarterback? Yeah, it's fine. Don't worry about it.
Hey, one other thing Lance said about Michigan it's not breaking news or it's the obvious is, and this is for the next step of Nebraska football, whether it be recruiting, strength and conditioning. Before you go any step further, the one thing about Harbaugh has always been, from Stanford to Michigan, and even a little bit at San Diego, if you want to go that far back at the beginning of his career, and then of course what he did in the NFL with the Niners, is he establishes an identity before he does anything else.
Mm-hmm.
I think whoever the new head coach is at Nebraska, that's the number one thing, is let everybody know across the board, whether they be behind desks or sitting in front of a locker stall, is this is what our identity is. This is what we're going to do on offense. This is what we're going to do on defense. This is what we're going to do on special teams. You have an identity of what those three phases of football are going to look like. Most importantly, the first two. We're going to run, I'll use a heavy RPO, for example, where
why would you say that?
Ideally, we'd like a quarterback that throws for 3,000 yards and maybe runs for 300.
Sure.
That would be a nice, but that's going to be our identity. Okay, so everybody knows what our identity is, and we're going to carry that day to day, year to year. We're not going to waver from it, and that's what we're going to recruit to. That's what we're going to build our guys up to, and that's the mentality that we're going to have. Then on defense, this is the kind of defense we're going to run, and this is going to be our identity: tough, physical. We're going to be technique sound. We're going to be able to get off blocks. We're not going to be sticky. Okay, we're going to be football IQ really good. That's our identity, so we're going to recruit to that, and we're going to build our strength and conditioning around that. That's the first step. This is what our identity is. And then go from there, and then be solid on your identity where it never wavers. That's what you want it to be, and that's where you start building your program around. And Harbaugh has been that at every stop. We've always talked about, okay, what is Nebraska's identity? Oh, they'd like to be this. We always do that. Oh, they'd like to be this. That is a football team that on Saturday on offense had no identity, absolutely no identity. And granted, they built the entire offense around Casey Thompson, so now it's the house is caving in. But absolutely no identity. There was no way you could watch the game on Saturday and go, okay, I can see what Nebraska's trying to do here with some pet plays. They were just throwing darts at a dartboard going, hey, if we break a big play and we get lucky, here we go. I mean, they had no semblance of a complementary game plan, and that'll be the first step, in my opinion, for the new phase of Nebraska football. This is our identity, and we're not wavering. And now let's go out and find dudes or current dudes that can play with this kind of a style of offense we're going to play in, because that's what we're going to do, and we're not going to change from it.
Yeah, I think the most interesting thing about that part of it for me, and I agree, when you talk about recruiting, when you talk about development, when you talk about all of these things, it all starts with identity, like you said, because if you recruit to an identity and you know what you're looking for, then you're more likely to hit on a higher percentage of recruits. I think a big issue, there's been a lot of big issues, right? But one of the big issues where you look at either 4-star guys for Nebraska not looking like 4-star guys, or not being able to retain these guys that you bring in these recruiting classes that have actually been pretty solid, but we just don't see it end up on the field, is if you recruit a 4-star guy, but he's a bad fit, he's not going to look like a 4-star guy, right? He's going to look like a 2 or 3-star guy. If you recruit a 4-star guy and you don't have a clear path and plan to get him better and get him on the field, then that 4-star guy leaves. He goes back home to Florida or wherever, right? There's a lot of that that starts with identity. If you've got these guys that you're like, hey, I like their frame, I think we can turn them into something, but you don't have an identity, then you don't have a roadmap to hand to your strength and conditioning coach or to your position coaches and say, hey, we need this guy to end up looking like this. It all starts, some people call it vision, some people call it identity, whatever you want to call it. It's all the same thing. It's a roadmap to success. That's what the identity gives you. It's, hey, this is where we are. This is where we have to be. Because the end goal can't just be we have to be a better football team. It can't just be we have to make a bowl game. It can't just be we have to be competitive in this crap of a West division that isn't going to be around in a year. There has to be an actual tangible end goal that you can draw a line from where you're at to where you want to be. And Nebraska hasn't been able to draw that line in a really long time.
That's the number one priority. I think when you walk in the door, is this what our identity is? This is who we are, and this is how we go about our business every single day. And the other thing is, don't overthink it. Michigan doesn't overthink it. The thing that is also demoralizing about Saturday is Michigan is very simple.
Incredibly simple.
They're very, very simple on what they run, their counter, their stretch, all of that kind of stuff. They force you to be not only good at the point of attack, but also to be very smart in reading fits and all of that kind of stuff. But Michigan is very, very simple. They're just really good at the execution part of it.
Smart, disciplined football.
And technique. And they don't commit a lot. They don't commit penalties. They don't hurt themselves. They are a well-coached, well-practiced team that when you are not very good, it's demoralizing. It's awful because there's nothing you can do. Absolutely nothing you can do.
Michigan is honestly, if it's me, and it's not, obviously, I'm breaking news here. I'm not the new head football coach at Nebraska.
Another tease.
That's the end goal of what you should want to look like, right? I think that's the path that works best at a place like Nebraska. I'm not saying it's the only path that can work, but if you're the next head coach coming in here, you should look at Michigan and say, hey, that's the goal. And it is really simple. You don't have to out scheme everybody and out coach everybody. You just have to execute the things that you know you can do really, really well. And yeah, it takes some talent on the offensive line and some coaching up on the offensive and defensive lines. But Michigan lost 2 DNs in the first 2 rounds of the NFL draft last year, and their defense might be better this year. This is a team that has a clear-cut identity, and what they do is so incredibly simple that should be what Nebraska strives to. And I get that they're the end goal, not the Nebraska can be this in 2 years. But can you imagine how happy Nebraska fans would be if they looked anything like what Michigan looks like? The entire state would lose their mind with joy because this is the type of football that Nebraskans love.
It didn't take long. You got to recruit to it. You got to win elite battles for defensive and offensive linemen. But it's a span of about 2 years where Harbaugh changed the line of scrimmage at Michigan. We'll talk more about things from out of Saturday and ahead. We'll get into that recruiting part of what Mickey said post-game as we roll till 10. Dylan Travis coming up, the celebrated basketball 3x3. Dylan Travis will join us next on 1620 The Zone. Hey, you can talk about celebrating. Put yourself behind the wheel of a 23 GMC Acadia. Now, midsize SUV, it is the way to go. Solid choice, spacious, versatile cabin, user-friendly infotainment system, and truck-like design. You can find out why the GMC Acadia right now is luxury for you. Fuel efficient. You know what? You like room? Yes. You've got the 3 rows of seats. You got traveling. You got families, all of that. It is a comfortable ride and a great price right now. Check it out in person, 119th and I. That's Woodhouse Buick GMC. It's their climate-controlled indoor showroom with lots of inventory right now, new and pre-owned. And you can also start your journey online at WoodhouseBuickGMC.com. Same inventory, same knowledgeable and friendly sales staff. They will take care of you to give you the confidence when you get behind the wheel, especially the GMC Acadia, that is the vehicle for you. In person, 119th and I, or online at WoodhouseBuickGMC.com. GMC, we are professional grade.
Mornings on 1620 The Zone is brought to you by MD West One Orthopedics, Neurosurgery, and Spine. Previously on Unsportsmanlike Conduct.
Cheetos becoming aware and starting World War III.
That'd be a bummer because then we couldn't eat them anymore.
The most delicious war.
But that would be the thing.
You can
to
still
defeat
eat them.
You eat them.
Oh, okay. Never mind. Cheetos do whatever
You would have to get past the moral implications of eating a sentient Cheeto.
Yeah, it's true because imagine you start eating them and they start screaming.
Unsportsmanlike Conduct with John Bishop and Josh Peterson. Weekdays 2 to 6 on 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast from the Godfather's Pizza Weather Center and KETV Newswatch 7 on 1620 The Zone.
Mainly cloudy and chilly Monday with the chance for a few flurries as we get closer to lunchtime. More flurries possible late in the day with snow developing southeast of the metro. Highs in the mid-30s. I'm meteorologist Sean Everson from KETV Newswatch 7.
Mornings on 1620 The Zone, brought to you by MD West One Orthopedics, Neurosurgery, and Spine.
1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Burton AC Heating, Plumbing, and More time-saving traffic center. We've got major delays beginning on West Center Road in between 192nd Street and Bob Boozer Drive, as well as an accident on I-80 West at L Street blocking the right shoulder. And that accident at I-80 East and 60th Street has been moved to the left shoulder and is causing some minor delays. Remember to buckle those seatbelts. I'm Dan Campanen.
Listen to 1620 The Zone anywhere, anytime, online at 1620thezone.com and on the 1620 The Zone mobile app. You can hear all of your 6A to 6P favorites in the 1620 The Zone app, powered by Woodhouse Auto Family.
Hey everybody, it's Michael Sabit for Ted and Wally's. You know the ice cream, you know the tradition, and you understand the flavors. So many of them, over 3,000 flavors over the 35 years they've been in business. It's amazing. 2 locations as always. You can either go over to Benson or you can head downtown, and you are going to love their ice cream. Why? Well, how about the 20% butterfat? It just makes it so thick and just creamy. It's absolutely delicious. And here's another great thing. You're looking for keto? They have keto-friendly ice cream. If you're looking for ice cream with no sugar added, they have that as well. Ice cream, sorbet, yogurt, grass-fed, goat milk ice cream, whatever you're looking for, they take care of you. That's what Ted and Wally's does. Whether it's the Benson location or it's the downtown location, they will take care of you. Here's what you need to do. You need to head over to Ted and Wally's. You need to order right now, whether you want to get just a little bit for now or some for later at Ted and Wally's. 2 wonderful locations in Benson and also the Old Market. And of course, tell them Severe sent you.
Everyone deserves to be connected. That's why Cox has high-speed internet to fit any budget. Stream, chat, and connect at an incredible price. You're probably thinking, wait, what? But yeah, it's true. Learn more at cox.com/ACP. Non-transferable, one per household. Application and eligibility decisions are made by the FCC. Other restrictions apply.
Hey friends, Kent Pavelka here, back with John Higgins and the Rooferees at the Weather Guard showroom. Why would it be advisable for me to have you do my roof versus somebody else?
Well, integrity of myself and our employees, longevity, what we do here in the community, that has to go a long way, and I believe it does. We do what we say we're going to do, and if there is a problem, we're going to come back and fix it.
So make the right call, fans. When it comes time to replace your roof, your gutters, and siding, there's only one call to make. The Rooferees at John Higgins Weather Guard.
From basketball to volleyball, baseball to softball, soccer, tennis, and so much more, the Creighton sports season is packed with action. The 1620 The Jays podcast, presented by Barry Law, covers it all. Each week, we visit with Blue Jay athletes and coaches to hear their stories and document their climb through the Big East Conference. The 1620 The Jays podcast drops each Friday morning and is found at 1620thezone.com and all major podcast platforms. Just search 1620 The Jays. Covering all things Creighton Blue Jays, it's the 1620 The Jays podcast, presented by Barry Law from 1620 The Zone.
Story's Coffee Company is now open in Gretna, and it's coming soon to Midtown Crossing. Locally owned and family operated, Story's Coffee Company serves premium roasted coffee along with a full menu of teas, smoothies, breakfast, lunch, and heavy appetizers. Not only serving coffee, but local craft beers on tap, wine, and cocktails that pair perfectly with live music on Friday and Saturday nights. A portion of their profits every quarter are given to local nonprofits that are doing good things in Omaha. Story's Coffee Company with 5 convenient locations in Omaha.
Cool air temperatures mixed with warm soil temperatures means it's time to plant. Visit Lanaha's Garden Center for the Metro's largest selection of homegrown trees and plants. Rooted in quality, unmatched value. Lanaha Nurseries, 192nd and Center.
Welcome to the After Hours Lounge on 1620 The Zone.
He looked like he was running in slow motion during that open field run.
He's a strider.
So would that equate to him being a slightly more athletic Ben Roethlisberger?
What's
happening with him running the ball?
Because they're taking the DBs and secondary downfield.
Catch After Hours 6 to 8 Monday through Friday, or as the sports schedule allows. Brought to you by Iowa Western Community College and Payne West on 1620 The Zone.
Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. EquitableOnline.com.
Dingman's Collision Center. We would rather be the best than apologize for anything less.
1620 The Zone.
All right, welcome back in 1620 The Zone in the mornings. I believe with the state high school football championships coming up next week. And by the way, the field is great for all the classes that we will talk about as we make our way through the week. I think High school basketball practice and winter sports practice begins today. This would be a guy, and this is the only reason we're bringing him on, just to ask him this question. We welcome in West Side assistant boys basketball coach, Gross Catholic alum. I think they have his picture up in the hallways there. Teacher at West Side, and oh, by the way, a gold medal winner. Dylan Travis joins us. Coach, good morning.
Hey, good morning. Thank you for having me on.
Hey, so does winter sports practice begin today?
It does. We have practice at 5:30 tonight.
All right. Well, let's be honest. Hey, Jim at West Side, you guys have been practicing year round.
Yeah, Jim treats it like a college program, man. The guys at West Side are super lucky to have him as their coach.
All right. First of all, congratulations. You have to fill people in. People know you, Coach, all throughout the community and your basketball prowess. But now you have taken it to a whole nother level as being involved in the 3x3 and just recently won a gold medal. Walk us through kind of your basketball journey of late that culminated with a gold medal playing for Team USA in the FIBA 3x3 AmeriCup tournament recently.
Yeah, it's been a crazy journey, obviously, since Gross Catholic. But yeah, recently, I stopped playing 5-on-5 overseas professionally because of COVID, and then started teaching at West Side, and then I got into 3x3. And yeah, I've been doing it for a couple of years, and I got chosen to be on the Team USA national team to go down to the AmeriCup in Miami last week. So the AmeriCup is like the first step towards the Olympics in 2024. You have to finish high enough at the AmeriCup to make the World Cup this summer, and then the World Cup is how you get to the Olympics in Paris. So we won the gold medal, me, Jimmer, Canyon, and Kareem. So we had a really good team, and yeah, we got the job done. It was a lot of fun.
You just kind of buried the lead there. You said Jimmer. You just passed right onto it. You were playing with Jimmer Fredette.
Yeah, Jim. Hopefully people remember that name. Some of the kids that I coach and teach, they're a little bit younger, so they don't know the Jimmer mania like I do. But when I was in high school, I remember watching him play at Creighton. So it was awesome being his teammate and learning from him. And we were a nice little duo. We were the two guards on the team. So.
Hey, so I've known you for a while, and now I've watched you play, whether it be 5-on-5 or the emerging 3x3. Also fill in the blanks for people, because it was a couple of years ago. Because Damon and I went, and the event going on at Sokol was kind of my first introduction. I'm like, wow, this is the real deal. But through that, the Omaha 3-ball has emerged with you, Trey Beardsley, Malik Hlucheweki, from Bellevue West, Mitch Hahn, who I saw play at Omaha, and Clay Rowe and Trey Landsman as well. And you guys have made up a really, really good team that, am I reading this correctly? You're ranked number 2 in the U.S. and number 15 in the world?
Yeah, correct. We just moved up to number 10. We had a tournament in Saudi Arabia this past weekend. I got in late last night, and we finished third. So you get points depending on how you do at these tournaments. So we're up to number 10. And yeah, we got a good thing going here in Omaha. Obviously 3x3 is really big in Europe, Asia, a lot of places but America. But we got a good team going. We're able to practice here, and that helps a ton. And we've had some success this tour season. So.
Dylan, you mentioned that the 3x3 is a really big product in some of the other countries. What are you guys doing to try and kind of bring awareness to it in this country? And I know that 5-on-5 kind of dominates the conversation here, but what are some of the things about the 3x3 that people might enjoy as compared to the 5-on-5 game?
Yeah, I think as we have more success, us not making the Olympics in Tokyo hurt. So I think once we make the Olympics, we'll catch some steam here in America. But 3x3, it's half-court game. You play to 21, 1s and 2s. There's no stoppages in play. It's, if I make a basket, the other team gets it out the net. They have to clear it to the three-point line, and you play. So it's super physical. There's, like I said, no stoppages in play, so it's fast-paced. And yeah, so I love it. You have to have a ton of IQ. I think it's harder than 5-on-5. You have to be in better shape. So you have to be able to shoot, pass, dribble, defend. There's no hiding on defense. You can't just guard the other team's worst player in the corner and be 3 passes away from the ball. You're always in the mix with the ball screen or flare or something. So I love it. It fits my game perfectly.
What's the key to putting together a roster of guys? What are you looking for? Your teammates, especially the Omaha 3-ball, what do you all have in common or do well that makes you a good 3x3 team?
Yeah, so we all have a high IQ. That's number one, and everyone's got to be able to shoot the ball. That's the thing. These European teams, they're tough because they're all 6'8". They can all handle the ball. They can all pick and pop. Malik and I are a little bit shorter. We're both 6'2", 6'3", but you're able to get away with so much physicality. You can really throw your chest and arms into them in the post. So we hold our own. And we're just, us being able to practice and playing together for years helps a ton. So our chemistry is just really, really good, and that shows in these tournaments.
Dylan, you mentioned earlier in the AmeriCup, you kind of took your next step towards the Olympics. What does that path look like for you between now and the next Olympics?
Yeah. So the World Cup is going to be in Europe this summer. So I hope, my hope is to be on that team. You don't know. We took care of our business and we won gold at the AmeriCup. So it's up to the USA selection committee on who they want to choose, the 4-man roster to go to the World Cup to help us get into the Olympics. So, I'm praying that I'm on that team. I'm going to keep working for it. We still, have one more tournament left. I feel like I played well in Saudi Arabia this last week, and I know, USA guys are watching that. So I'm just going to keep working myself and hope I get on the team.
What was the crowd like in Saudi Arabia?
In Saudi Arabia, it was crazy. They got so much money out there. It was like they had a huge they had concerts going outside the venue, like the arena that they had it at was absolutely packed. It was a lot of fun. It was like a show.
Hey,
sure.
So this is kind of and Dylan Travis joining us here on 1620 The Zone. Can this take off in this country? Because we've seen like around the Final Four weekend that college all-stars are starting to do more of this. You're starting to take off. People are paying more attention. It's in the Olympics. Can 3x3 or 3x3 in this country take off?
I think so. We just gotta, put on more tournaments. Like you said, Final Four. I think like each conference gets a team.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure the Creighton guys won it. The Big East won it this past year. And I think like if the tournament would happen in Omaha, I think people would come and watch, especially if you put it around like a festival or a concert. And, a lot of these tournaments are outdoors with like the canopy and like seating, kind of family friendly environment. So like I said, I think once we get in the Olympics, if we qualify for that, people will see it more and it will catch some more steam. But yeah, I would love to see it take off in America because it's definitely a fun type of basketball. It's not like the Big Three that like I used to use Big Three where they check it up and it's super slow and like that's not even close to what it's like compared to the FIBA 3x3.
I'm glad you brought up the Big Three because for a lot of people in America, the only awareness of sports kind of comes through television. Are you of an opinion that until this gets on TV outside of the Olympics, that's what it needs to take off?
Yeah, I agree with that. It's on YouTube. It's on the FIBA 3x3. It's always streamed on their YouTube, like live. But, until people know about it, and it's on an actual network, I don't know how people would see it like that. Obviously Ice Cube's done a good job with his. It's always on, NBC or whatever it is. But it's such a better brand of basketball than that. So it'd be awesome to see some network, take off with it. I think it would have a lot of success.
Do you, and I know you still get up and down the floor. Do you struggle making the transition back to 5-on-5?
No, not at all. It's easier for me now. The game's slowed down. I always wonder, I stopped playing my 5-on-5 career. I hung up the shoes with that and I'm doing 3x3, but I honestly think if I went back to playing 5-on-5 overseas, the game would be a lot easier for me. Just with how fast-paced 3x3 is and how physical it is and how you have to make decisions, like split-second decisions in a pick and roll or a flare and read your guy. I think 3x3 can help you play 5-on-5 in a big way.
Dylan, you mentioned a couple times that 3x3 is kind of faster paced than 5-on-5, which I think a lot of people would think is counterintuitive. Can you go into a little bit more detail about how that kind of plays itself out?
Yeah. So say you and I are on different teams, you shoot the ball, say you miss it. I get it right off the rim. I clear it to the 3-point line by dribble or pass. There's a 12-second shot clock. So you have 12 seconds to get a shot up. And it's straight into, maybe I swing it to the top, another swing straight into a flare or straight into a ball screen flare. So it's just a ton of action going on in a short amount of time. So you have to make quick decisions and then boom, shot goes up, make or miss, get out the net, get off the rim, change your possession. So it's just back and forth. 10-minute game, 12-second shot clock, first to 21, ones and twos. So.
Yeah, this just seems like it's a no-brainer for a television made where it's quick. There's always something action happening. That this should be like the next thing to take off in this country.
Yeah, it'd be awesome. We'll see what happens. Us Omaha guys are gonna keep doing our thing, and I feel like it's starting to pick up. More people are starting to know about it that just know me. So I feel like we're starting to spread some awareness. Mike, our manager, he's out in California. He does a great job with us. You can follow him. He's on Instagram at 3Ball USA. He does a great job of covering our team and our travels and kind of like the day in the life stuff behind the scenes of us getting out to whatever country we're going to or whatever city we're going to. So he does a great job as well.
Well, hey, great stuff. You know, I'm happy for you, my man. You're on the path. I would love to see you in Paris in 24, and I hope it comes true. But what you're doing here in Omaha with all those other guys that a lot of us already know, that is fantastic, and continued success. And good luck as the high school season gets underway here shortly.
Yeah, I appreciate it. We should have a good team this year, so really looking forward to that.
Yes, you will. Hey, thanks, Dylan.
Okay, thank you, guys.
That's Dylan Travis, who now is a teacher and also assistant coach with Jim Simons over at Westside. Yeah, we're always looking for in television of things that happen quick. There's always action going on, and it is into a short window where you can say, "Hey, we've got an hour or we've got 2 hours of television time. We can fit this in, and we're not going to have to worry about it going over."
Yeah,
more than likely. But it's always something happening. I mean, I think the college guys in the different conferences that play the Final Four, that has really picked up.
Yeah.
Like guys clamoring to play in it. Now, the way they're playing it compared to what Dylan is describing on the international stage is different. But this is appealing to the eye if you like basketball and you always like something happening. And for some of these guys that their career can continue playing this level. I was just looking at the FIBA rankings. We got a ways to go. So Dylan's team is 11th in the FIBA rankings. Would you like to guess who the top country is when it comes to this?
Ooh, in 3x3. I would say I'm going to guess. I don't know why. I want to say Germany.
So it looks like Germany is here, Belgium, Latvia, the Netherlands, Austria.
Yeah, so it's, I mean, like you said, it's pretty big in Europe. That makes sense. Basketball in general is huge over there, especially after soccer. And it seems like one of those things that, for whatever reason, Europe seems to embrace some of these, I don't know if niche sports the right word, but kind of these offshoots of different things that you don't see to the same extent over here. And a lot of it, to me, is because the U.S. has, I brought up the TV thing with Dylan. The U.S. has such a saturation of their major sports on television that there's not a ton of room in their sports landscape for these little random one-off things. Whereas in Europe, it's basically soccer, basketball, and then you've got a lot of room for something else to kind of fill up your sports calendar. You don't really have that in the U.S., so it makes sense why it explodes in other places, I think.
The U.S. women won gold in Tokyo in 2020.
Yeah, they did. They were very good. I watched a lot of that.
I mean, again, we've kind of joked it was a crossover a while back. We were all talking about Gus Macker and Omaha's Hoop It Up. They used to go on. You look at this setup where you could position the stands and have people right on top of you and create the atmosphere. I don't see why this can't go to the next level in this country. But now we got to get over calling it 3-on-3 to 3x3.
Yeah, it needs to be on TV. That's the next level. I mean, that's just whether it's, usually it's something like this starts on like an ESPN Plus or something like that.
CBS Sports Network at an obscure time of the day.
Yeah, and it needs to be, honestly, these things that are trying to break into the sports calendar need to do it during the summer. It's got to be when basketball.
This is definitely a summer.
Yeah, 100%.
This is like arena football.
Yes, it's got to be after football is done, at least after college basketball is done. Your windows from like April to August to kind of fill in the sports calendar. I know you still got the NBA, but people that watch the NBA are going to watch the NBA. I know you've got Major League Baseball, but that's pretty regionalized at this point until you get to October. You've got to find a hole in the sports calendar somewhere between April and August to give yourself a chance. Because let's be honest, these networks are looking for programming. It's about the only thing you can get with live viewing rights is sports these days. The other thing you probably need to do, and I know this isn't fair to guys like Dylan who are really good at this and deserve the attention anyway, but if you got a guy, whether it's, Jimmer at this point is probably not a big enough name, but if you got either like a recently retired NBA star or someone like that, you need someone to kind of carry the banner in a way that already has a national significance to it, rather than just someone trying to make their name in a 3x3 league. You probably need someone who already has a name to elevate the perception of a 3x3 league in the country.
All right, prepare yourself. Pickleball and 3x3.
I actually was thinking a lot about pickleball when he was talking about this, because the way he describes it, it's a lot like pickleball versus tennis. It's very fast paced. There's really hardly any changeover or reaction time or anything like that. And it goes immediately. I mean, there is no downtime. I don't know if you've watched it on TV at all, but at the professional level, there is no downtime whatsoever. Like, to the point where they don't even have time for commercials unless they artificially create commercial slots, which they do because it's television, of course. But there really are a lot of and again, you would think pickleball would be slower than tennis, and you would think maybe 3-on-3 would be a little bit slower than 5-on-5. It's really not, because you're so condensed on the court, whether 3x3 or on pickleball. The action is literally nonstop. It's just coming at you all the time.
It's Ravi, if you missed our chat with Dylan, 3ballusa.com for more information. Omaha's got a really good team, and of course Dylan at the international stage, a good team as well, with the very interesting basketball career of Jimmer Fredette.
Spent a lot of time scoring like 50 a game in China.
Yeah.
I think there was a year actually where he legitimately scored 40 points a game. What's his average in China? He put up some stupid numbers over there and was making pretty good money.
He was. We'll take a break. We'll come back. Mike and Cody, stay right there. We'll get to your calls. Coming up at 9, Jimmy Watkins for the final time. This is the last day Jimmy's working in Nebraska. He'll let everybody know where he's going and maybe what is next. People are very, very interested on what's going to happen with the Nebraska ball beat with the World Herald and Journal-Star. So maybe Jimmy will give us some info there, but we'll get his thoughts on Nebraska basketball and, of course, football. And then Joel Lorenzi ahead of Creighton and Holy Cross tonight downtown. Game number 3 for the Jays as another large, and I mean large, favorite.
Yeah, what'd you say, 26?
Mm-hmm.
That's a pretty big number.
Surprised that may maybe inch up just a little bit.
Yeah, 26.5 right now.
It seems low.
It does.
It seems a little low.
We're back with more 1620 The Zone after this.
Big names, big games. We've got them all. 1620 The Zone.
He's back. Old Man Winter has arrived. If you notice the cold air leaking through your home's windows, give J-Tech Construction a call for a free estimate. Keep winter cold outdoors where it belongs. Let the official exterior experts of the Huskers, J-Tech Construction, upgrade you to triple pane replacement windows and start saving money on your energy bills. The cold doesn't have to mean higher heating costs. Get all the details by going to yourexteriorexperts.com. J-Tech Construction, the official exterior experts of the Huskers.
Hey everyone, Josh and John here for the FanDuel Sportsbook. It is the perfect time to download FanDuel because right now new customers get a no-sweat first bet for up to $1,000. That means free bets back if your first bet does not win. John, I am looking to Sunday Night Football. It is Chiefs, it is Chargers. What a fun matchup between a couple of teams that, of course, know each other very well. We always see squirrely things happening in this one. Maybe the over is something that I would add to my same game parlay.
And don't worry, because if maybe you've missed something in the first half and won on basically a do-over, that's where live betting comes in. That's right. There's live odds being posted throughout the course of the game. Plus, all your winnings get paid fast on an app that's safe and secure to use. Sign up today. Use promo code 1620 for your no-sweat first bet. 21 plus in President, Iowa. First online real money wager only. Refund issued as non-withdrawable free bets that expire in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-BETS-OFF.
Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information. Subscription required.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 90% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/radio. At Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the biggest brands at 90% off. That's right, get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but 90% cheaper. It's the same medication you get from your doctor, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/radio. That's forhims.com/radio for your free online visit. forhims.com/radio.
This is Scott Schultz from Host Coffee. 2022 marks our 50th year and business has never been better. We are rapidly growing and adding new customers, which means we need new route drivers and service technicians. We have new jobs for those new to the industry with little or no experience, and new careers that require knowledge in the coffee and vending world. There's a good chance we have just what you need in a new job. Host Coffee offers competitive pay and understands the work-life balance. Apply today at hostcoffee.net/careers and join our team.
Thank you to everyone who voted for MD West One in the Best of Omaha contest. We are thrilled to announce MD West One has been named the #1 private medical practice in Omaha for 4 years in a row. MD West One is also named first place in the orthopedic surgery and neurosurgical spine surgery. Our 34 board certified surgeons specialize in treating every bone, joint, or muscle condition from head to toe. Go to mdwest1.com to meet the #1 place to go for orthopedic, neurosurgery, and spine.
I always wanted to learn Spanish, but I never thought I'd have the time. Then I discovered Babbel.
Babbel's lessons are fun. They only take like 10 or 15 minutes, and in 3 weeks, presto, you're starting to speak another language. Like magic.
I love that Babbel's lessons aren't just robots talking. They're voiced by native speakers, so you get the pronunciation just right. And they're designed by real language teachers, so you learn how to have real-world conversations, things you'll actually use.
It's incredible. After using Babbel, I'm ready to start having real conversations in French.
There's all kinds of ways to learn. Use Babbel's podcasts or games or videos. You can even join live classes with a language teacher.
If you want to learn a language, there's no faster, easier, better way than
Babbel.
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 Babbel. Évidemment.
Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's BABBEL.com. Babbel.com.
Sparkly and shiny and bold and bright. And this holiday season, Ulta Beauty has something for everyone on your list, even you. Because our kind of holiday is you having your kind of holiday with incredible must-haves like the Dyson hairdryer and a new limited edition blue, shimmery palettes from Morphe and Tarte, plus fragrances from Ariana Grande and more. So revel in that holiday bliss. Head to your local Ulta Beauty or buy online and pick up in store. Ulta Beauty. The possibilities are beautiful.
1620 The Zone.
All right, back in. I do expect an announcement coming out of the athletic department at some point today involving their baseball schedule.
Ooh.
Baseball schedule is about to be
There it
released.
is.
What did you guys think? Were you guys getting a little excited there?
A dollar beer day at Memorial Stadium Saturday.
Did people all of a sudden stop what they're doing?
No, I
Yeah,
thought.
I think Nebraska is supposed to release their baseball schedule today.
I thought maybe there was I don't know, television news. Maybe they were changing the time of the Nebraska-Wisconsin game.
Nope,
8 a.m.
straight up at 11. 11, baby.
I was wrong, by the way. 25 at kickoff as of right now. 17-mile-an-hour wind.
Oh, 25. You'll be fine.
But it's a dry heat, so you won't even feel it.
I just think that could have been a night game.
Woof.
Crossed my mind.
Minnesota, Iowa will be colder in the Twin Cities.
Yeah.
Playing for the Pig.
Doesn't it get dark at like 1 there? So, I mean, essentially, that is a night game.
Yeah, that I'm going to be honest. I wouldn't want to be at either of those places. Doesn't sound fun to me at all.
Oh, we'll see what this week brings.
I'm not a cold weather sporting event guy.
This is what we were talking about before you got in this morning.
Yeah, not a
wimp.
Yeah, absolutely. No,
So,
he didn't back
so I
down.
don't dare ask if you were out at any high school games on Friday night because it was
no. I
That's
was
one
not.
of that's one of the colder Friday nights for high school football I've ever been at.
That
was this past week.
That time of my life is over.
You know, it was so cold in Bennington that the band didn't even play.
Well, they probably couldn't. Their lips would have stuck to the instruments. You'd have had some issues there.
Well, they also had a bank of lights went out of Bennington. Instead of delaying the game, both Waverly and Bennington said, "No, let's keep playing."
That's like that KU Nebraska game you covered back in the day.
Yeah.
Just keep this thing rolling. We got to go.
Here is Nebraska ball Mike. Hello,
Hi, Gary.
Hi,
How
Mike.
long have you been here?
In Nebraska,
Yes.
about 30 years. Well, no, wait.
Okay.
Take out there was about a 10-year stretch where I did not live here. So 25 years, 20 years.
Okay. Back in the day when Nebraska basketball was actually good, and stop laughing at me, folks, we were for about 5 years. When that happened, 3-on-3 was the thing here.
Yeah, it was
a
Nancy
big
Lieberman
thing.
ran it.
Like we competed with Dallas and Chicago and all that. We were really good at it.
And then what happened, Mike?
Danny Nee lost his mind and had to leave. And we had a whole bunch of stuff happen, and everybody quit caring about basketball as far as that went. And you know,
I don't think that was tied into 3-on-3, but
well, it didn't help.
oh, because 3-on-3 went down. Nebraska basketball went down.
No, well,
Okay.
they were both good at the same time, and it was like we were paying attention to both. And once Nebraska quit being decent, everybody kind of went, we don't really care about this. At least that's what I felt.
Okay. I mean,
Because it stopped being a
could
thing after that, like 2 or 3 years.
I mean, Nebraska basketball can still be a thing, but you gotta put a product on the floor that people
Not
like.
Nebraska. I'm talking the 3-on-3
Oh,
thing.
the 3-on-3. Yeah. Well, the 3-on-3 across the country, that hoop it up, it got less and less. Who was going to put it on, and I think the numbers, the participation numbers, like when they'd host national tournaments around the country, were getting fewer and fewer people. It might be, but it's supposed to be making a comeback.
About that, I had flashbacks. I'm like, we were good at this, and it wasn't a joke. We were really good.
Yeah, I mean, Omaha had a great event. Nancy Lieberman Klein was behind it. Remember her?
I'm not surprised to hear that name behind anything basketball related. She was really good at her job too.
She's a Hall of Famer, yeah.
Now, Robbie,
What's up?
told you I tweeted at you earlier.
You didn't respond,
did you
Robbie?
reach out on St. John's?
St. John's is going to play a super chaotic basketball game. They're going to pressure you up and down the floor. They're going to try and get a ton of transition opportunities, offensive and defensively. You're really going to have to take care of the basketball, and it's going to be just a ton of chaos.
I hate traveling east.
That's kind of what St. John's does, man. That's the Mike Anderson MO. They finally got some I don't know how good they're going to be, but they've got some better players. Curbelo had some nice moments at Illinois, and he's over at St. John's now. It's going to be, I would call it a bad matchup for Nebraska, but it's kind of a bad matchup for everybody, and you just kind of have to deal with it. It's a tough style to deal with.
So basically, we got to hold on and pray and not make mistakes if we want to win.
Yeah, I mean, if you're turning the ball over a lot, this is going to go real poorly.
Okay, not surprised. I hate making an East Coast trip this early in a year, but whatever.
All right. Anything else?
I want this coaching search to be over.
It's nearing the finish line.
Okay.
All right. You stressed about it?
Well, no, but I hope Trev makes the right call. A lot of people talking, a lot of names.
Give me a name.
Lane Kiffin.
Okay.
That is a name.
That is a name. Mike, be good. I appreciate all the interaction on Twitter.
All right.
And be good on Twitter, all right?
I will.
All right.
I didn't realize that was him on Twitter. It's not labeled Nebraska Ball Mike.
No.
So I didn't know it was him.
No,
I would have
it's
responded.
straight Mike.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he tweets in a specific kind of way.
Okay.
And he tweets at odd hours of the day.
It was at a strange hour.
Probably going to get a tweet from Mike at 2:30. He's very active on Twitter after dark.
I think it was pretty close to middle of the night. It was sometime between when I went to bed for this show and when I got up for this show.
Makes sense. Here is Cody. Good morning, Cody.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
Hey, Robbie.
By the way,
I'm
congratulations.
doing good.
Hold on. By the way, congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. It has been fun. It's a great experience. And so far, everyone says enjoy it because it goes by fast, and it is going by fast. He's getting very big for only being 3 weeks old.
How is the sleep schedule?
My wife's is terrible, but since I'm back working, she lets me sleep at night. But thank you for that. That means a lot. Robbie, you should have told him to basically shut down Posh Alexander because he's in about 24th year at St. John's.
Yeah, he's never going to leave. Never going to leave.
Yeah, he is so much fun to watch, though.
He is a menace defensively. Yeah.
Yeah. So for at least 6 more months, Is Westside Gretna the best rivalry in Class A right now?
It has turned into that. I mean,
I
the
mean,
talent.
State soccer, state
Oh,
volleyball,
yes.
basketball last year, now football back-to-back years.
And you know this, Cody. Everybody has leaned into it in the respective communities. I mean,
Oh, yeah,
there's
absolutely.
a passion in Gretna to beat Westside every single time. And it actually started before the state football final last year as they started to play more. But you feel it in Gretna, and then don't kid yourself. People at Westside want to beat Gretna in every
Yeah.
sport. And I like that they're playing. And they're usually, when they play, it's usually on the biggest stage. So that also helps.
Yeah, and so one thing is I do think both schools, I think there's a hate there, but I also think there's a lot of respect there. I know I got great relationships with Rob and Coach Jernigan and Damon and all them, and I do think it is a respect thing. You're going to have your people that talk about what happened last year, but there is still a respect on both teams are good. Both teams are beat up right now.
Yeah.
But depends on how all that shakes out. I think it's going to be another good game. And the biggest thing, and I know Dirk wrote a great article on it, this is the final game ever as Gretna has won high school for football.
I know. And that's going to seem strange when they open up Gretna East. You know, there's the dominance. You know, we talked about when Elkhorn split and Elkhorn South opened up, what would happen to the dominance. And we saw, Elkhorn South was able to keep, mowing right along.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's a big deal in Gretna. I mean, that's not only do you split a high school, but I think there's a lot of pride that they've gone this long with just Gretna High. So yeah, that's on the line. I love the fact that both teams probably played their best game of the year in the semifinals. And through all of the injuries, and in one place you have Paul Lamanji as the new head coach, and all the expectations that, hey, you guys are supposed to be back in Lincoln, you're going to meet again, this is going to be great. That they both have been able to navigate throughout the season to get back to playing in Lincoln. I think the 7 state finals are about as good a matchups as we've had in a long time across the board. I mean, we get Gretna Westside, which we didn't get during the regular season, so we get the rematch. Yep. We get Bennington and Gross playing, which we didn't get during the regular season, so that's a 1-2. We get a great 1-2 matchup in C1. I love what we've come to for next Monday and Tuesday in Lincoln.
I do think you'll be able to fly up on Monday. Take Highway 91 all you want. There will not be anyone in Dodge or Platte County. But that'll be fun. And then kind of the last thing I wanted to get at is just a little bit on I guess I'm kind of drawing a blank now, but I'll have to video you because I completely lost my thought.
No, just call next.
I think it will be fun. I'm excited for Monday, and we'll see how it goes.
Hey, Cody, thank you. And then call back when you remember what you're going to say. I mean, you have Anthony Rizak, who's a 1,000 passer, 1,000 rusher.
Mm-hmm.
You got Zane Flores from Gretna. Everybody knows it's amazing that his career is about to come to an end as one of the best quarterbacks ever to play in the state. So you have both of those guys going together. I know there's going to be a lot made about Coach Lamanji making a comment about he's the best quarterback in the state. I mean, he sees him every single day. And I'm glad that Anthony is getting a lot of attention and his stock will continue to rise. They're both well coached. They both have a really good culture. They are battling some injuries at some key positions. But I'll tell you another thing that shows me why these are two of the better teams is their attention to detail and attention to special teams. These are, Westside special teams, when they are fully healthy across the board, return game, kicking, punting, all of that, that is the best in the state. But Gretna has also been very good in special teams, and they pay a lot of attention to it. Both teams have great kickers, Bothwell at Gretna, Alvano at Westside. I'm glad that they're back together. I think this is going to be a great matchup. But I do, as of right now, sitting here, I like Westside to win the state championship.
You've got another week. Are you putting your official pick, or is it just lean?
No, that's my lean right now.
Okay,
that's my lean.
We'll check back in on Monday.
I think Westside right now is a buzzsaw.
No,
they got a wake up call against North Platte. Gretna is really, really good.
Yeah.
And what Gretna did to Prep, they hammered them.
They really did.
It didn't help that Prep turn the ball over and couldn't hold on to the ball. But Gretna played their best game of the semis, and here's the thing, everybody's been doubting Gretna.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. How come you can't blow out Southeast? How come you can't do this to this team? You know what? They just win. They know how to win. They're just like Bennington. Bennington is extremely talented, and all Bennington does is win. And now they're facing a team that's got a strong senior class and has got a a great running back in Jake Garcia. I love the state finals this year. But in A, you asked me on a week from the final, I will say that my pick is Westside in another tight one.
Yeah, I mean the X factor here. I mean, obviously you've got the history with last year and how everything went down there. It's just that Zane Flores can do things that nobody else in the state can do. And so I agree with you that Westside looks like the better team right now, and they've looked better in their run up to the state final. There's always just that thing in the back of my mind that if somebody has to make a play on either team, it's probably going to be Zane Flores. And we saw that last year. I thought to myself, as this kind of defensive battle is being waged, there's a point where I'm like, this feels like one of those things where Zane Flores makes a throw that nobody else can make. And that's pretty much what happened. Obviously, Gretna ends up winning, regardless of whatever else you want to say happened after that. On the field, Gretna certainly won that game. And you just wonder if it's going to play out. I mean, you said you think it's going to be a close one. You wonder if it plays out the same way, where at a certain point, the guy that's better than everybody else on the field makes a play that nobody else can make.
God, I'd be surprised, unless there's weather there is a factor a week from today, that it's not, that we're not going to get another 7-3 game.
No, I would like to see I'd like to see a little bit more open.
But here's the thing. They have a lot of offensive weapons on both sides. Both of these teams are really well coached defensively. I mean, they have good coaches that put together good game plans. And I don't know. Again, we get the matchups that we wanted, especially from A, B, and C1. We get the ones versus the twos. And we might have a Lincoln team win a state championship. Hadn't happened in over a decade. Oh, it's when Southeast beat Burke.
What
11.
years? Oh, 11. Yeah.
I mean, it's been few and far between from the capital city win a state championship, or let alone be in a state final.
Yeah, it does not happen a lot. It's been a metro dominated, especially in Class A, a metro dominated deal there.
And it's when you think it's been since 11 since a team from the capital city has won a state title in football. I mean, that's jaw dropping. That's disappointing.
Well, especially
there's coaches I know in Lincoln that would love to have some of the advantage you have in Omaha of the off season and the support that in some school districts and some hallways and superintendents you get for especially football.
Sure.
That is lacking in some places that coaches would love to have it. Now, Southeast is on the come.
Yeah.
Lincoln East is always going to be good with Coach Gingery and his staff. Lincoln Southeast is going to be there. What will maybe help is the Huskers that live in Lincoln that are having kids that are all of a sudden moving up.
I mean, we've seen that in Omaha, right?
Yeah.
When you've got these guys that were really good athletes and ex-Huskers, and they're about that age where their kids are in high school now, you start to see some legacy players in the.
And then guess what happens in Lincoln? We open another high school.
Got to dilute the talent a little bit more. Can't have anybody dominant.
See, I had somebody in Bennington tell me the other day. They were like, you know what? I'm glad that we voted down the extra high school.
Listen, that's
because they do need to. I mean, they're bursting at the seams.
Yeah.
But the athletic person in this individual said, "Whew, man, our football dominance looks like it's going to carry on for a little bit. We're not going to have to split the high school."
That's
the thing about like a Gretna.
Yeah.
You wonder about a place like Gretna. I mean, they worried about it at Elkhorn. It hasn't. I mean, all three Elkhorn schools made the football playoffs this year, but it's a real deal because it really, really hampered Lincoln.
Well, and back in the day, I mean, you saw it when Lincoln Southwest opened up with Lincoln Southeast. There was a kind of learning curve there with Southeast. You saw it back in the day when Millard West opened up and Millard South was pretty dominant, and then Millard West got really good really fast because of how many guys that they kind of had siphoned away from Millard South. It's a pretty natural. I mean, the Elkhorn thing is kind of the exception here, where typically if you open up another high school in a community like that, it takes a little bit of time for things to even themselves out. So the fact that they were all three pretty good this year, or really good this year, depending on how you look at it, that is more the exception than the rule. Typically, it hampers the program.
I mean, when you had 4 public high schools in Lincoln, and you had High, Northeast, East, and Southeast, and all 4 were really good across the board in boys and girls sports, and then all of a sudden, North Star opens up and Southwest opens up, and you spread out the talent. And that's the go-to for coaches that I'll talk to. They're like, well, you know what? You guys in Omaha talk about winning state championships and being really, really good. Look what happened to us. And in this case, it's true in Lincoln. So somebody bringing up that Gretna has one more run as Gretna High before they open up brand new, beautiful high school, Gretna East, is a big deal. But when I heard that Bennington, that next high school did not get passed, I thought, oh, there are gonna be some athletic parents that are very happy.
Well, you hear about these stories in places, especially like Texas, it's a big deal, where these small Texas towns refuse to open up new high schools because they don't want to dilute the athletic talent
So there
pool.
are two things come to mind, and they're closer than Texas. So West Des Moines Valley is a athletic juggernaut in Des Moines. If you know about West Des Moines, you know how it has exploded. For the longest time, they have fought not to open up an extra high school in West Des Moines. And what does Valley do? Valley just continues to be a juggernaut in sports. I mean, they're in the state final. They upset Dowling the other night. Ankeny, which is another suburb of Des Moines, really, really good in athletics. They're chief rival of my high school. They fought for the longest time to keep one high school, even though they were in portals and it was like, you have to open another high school. So they opened up Ankeny Centennial. Now both high schools are really good. The first time I ever heard about this, and this is where Jimmy used to hang out, Lawrence High.
I was
Lawrence
just
High
thinking of them.
was one of the best athletic high schools in all of Kansas. And they just had one high school, but yet, I mean, they were packed.
They dominated.
But it was like, you would hear stories of how uncomfortable it was because they had so many students and they were only in one school. But everybody was like, no, we can't lose our athletic dominance. So we're going to keep voting this down. We're going to fight this. And then they finally opened up Free State?
Yeah,
and isn't Free State pretty good too?
Free State, yeah, they're both pretty good now, but Free State's been sort of a juggernaut. But I think Lawrence High hasn't won a state title in a long time, and it ties back to that.
Yeah, I mean, that's real.
And the thing is, they're still packed because the last time I was there before we moved up here and I drove by there, they're building new buildings there because it's already stretched thin. So I can't imagine what it was like before Free State. I mean, that was before my time.
The first time I realized this was a thing, I think it's in Buzz Bissinger's book about the Friday Night Lights in Odessa, Permian. That was the first time reading that I realized this was a thing that people did, was they would actively avoid opening new high schools to try and keep everything condensed. So they, like you said, they have portables. People are going to classes in like literal trailers. That's
or
not
staggered times.
Yeah, that's not an exaggeration. Or they like mess around with the scheduling, or they try and build onto the high school. They'll pass bond after bond to try and build onto the high school, or whatever they have to do to keep the high schools from splitting. And that's why you have this what is it, like a super 6A high school in the middle of nowhere, West Texas, because they refuse to split it up and have two high schools where they would both be, 3A or something like that. There's some places where it's literally the only thing that matters.
Where I grew up in San Antonio, I went to a small 5A school of 2,500 in enrollment, and it was common in the playoffs to go up against schools 5,000, 6,000, 6,500. And a lot of that was a lot of those schools where, well, we want to build a new school. No, you don't, because we've been dominating.
Well, and that's why they split off from 5A to 6A. And I think there's a super 6A now where they keep having to create these new classes because these Texas high schools just refuse to split.
All right. Coming up a little bit later, Jimmy Watkins will join us, Joel Lorenzi as well. We'll talk some basketball, life, and say goodbye to Jimmy Watkins, who is last day at the World Herald before he turns in his key card. Turns off his laptop and heads to Cleveland.
Goes out to Cleveland.
Yes.
It's a good time. Go be a Cavs fan.
But yeah, well, by the way, he's leaving the Nebraska basketball beat 2-0. What other basketball? I mean,
it's a great way to go out.
Lee, I don't think went out on a win.
Probably not. No.
I think he went out after a Big 12 tournament game, or no, Lee was still covering in the Big 10.
Do you
What
think?
was I thinking? That was just a few years ago.
You think? I would like to see what their career records are. Compile them up.
That's the stuff I think.
I mean, Jimmy's isn't going to be good, just based on when he's been here. But it'd be interesting to look at like the career records of some of these beat writers. Listen, we do it to coaches. Let's do it to beat writers.
I did it to my job at KU.
Now, see what you're going to start is people are going to think that we have an impact on the game. We just report on the game and
broadcasters jinx Gary.
Spoiler: we don't.
We react.
Don't ruin the no hitter, Gary.
Nope. I did not.
Has not allowed to hit through 7. That's how we say it.
We roll till 10 on a Monday on 1620 The Zone. Hey, fall is in full swing, and now as we've made our transition into winter, it's basketball season, but as football wraps up and we get into college hoops, you've also got concerts, holiday shows, so there's a lot to check out. And if you need tickets, there's no other place to go than my friends at ticketsforless.com. I see you all looking down at Arrowhead when the Rams and the Chiefs meet on the Sunday after Thanksgiving. You're going to Tickets for Less to find your best seats at Arrowhead, or you've got one more opportunity for the Huskers at Memorial Stadium against Wisconsin. Find the best seats to your favorite football game or the big shows at CHI Health and elsewhere. Tickets for Less has you covered. So save on your order at ticketsforless.com. And you know what? You can do it now by using the code THEZONE. The Zone. When you check out at ticketsforless.com, use the code THEZONE. It's good on any ticket purchase.
Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone. 1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Burton AC Heating, Plumbing, and More Time-Saving Traffic Center, we have an accident blocking the left lane on Dodge at Regency Parkway. You can expect delays of up to 5 minutes in that area. For the most part, things around the metro have smoothed out quite a bit, but we are still experiencing delays all along Center Street from 204th all the way down to the I-80 interchange. Remember to buckle those seatbelts. I'm Dan Campanen.
This time-saving traffic was brought to you by Methodist Health System, the meaning of care.
When envisioning what kind of future is possible, the challenges never stop. And neither do we. Methodist, the meaning of care.
Marvin Windows has long been known for their lasting value and beauty. Karp's Complete Home Exteriors is Omaha's first authorized Marvin Windows replacement contractor. For a free estimate, call Karp's Complete Home Exteriors or visit karpsomaha.com.
Hey, Olivia, what do you think when you think of Jones Bros Cupcakes and Cafe?
I think, can we go now?
Jones Bros is famous for award-winning cupcakes. Our cafe is delicious for breakfast and lunch, too.
Try French macarons.
And our light bulb boba drinks.
And our ice cream.
And our coffee and lattes.
And our croissant donuts.
We cater, too. Come see us at Jones Bros Cupcakes and Cafe in Exarban Village.
Come on, let's go.
Last year's 42 Degrees Veterans Day promotion was a huge success. Besides the thousands of dollars of food and toiletries donated, 42 Degrees wrote a check for $2,000 to the Veterans Food Pantry. So help a veteran and help yourself to an extra discount. 5% for 2 items, 10% for 4 items, or 15% for 6 items. So let's show support to our veterans in 2022 and make this Veterans Day even better. 42 Degrees, your source for CBDs, Kratom, and Delta products. By your mom's house.
Email unsportsmanlike conduct on the Equitable Bank Zone inbox with whatever is on your mind, from your hot takes to what you think is one. The Zone inbox is brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. We want to hear from you on the Equitable Bank Zone inbox.
Since this is a radio commercial, you can't see the people standing behind me. They're the Langfeld family. Everybody wave. Oh, sorry. You can't see them because radio. Anyway, the Langfelds are the family behind Langfeld Overhead Door, where they proudly install Midland garage doors to fit any space and style. And they don't take a backseat to anyone when it comes to their service. Because if something goes wrong, it's their name on the line. So they're going to make sure it goes right every single time. Langfeld Overhead Door, 402-234-2700.
Shop Woodhouse Place Hyundai and Nissan, 144th and Giles. KOZN, Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs.
Halftime brought to you by Hearth Cigars and Pipes Lounge, just off 680 and 48th Street next to Cubby's. It's Hearth Cigars and Pipes Lounge.
All right, a couple things to keep an eye on this week with Nebraska football as they get ready for Wisconsin. Tomorrow's regular media availability. I think, Trev, this is the week that he's back on the radio.
That's interesting.
Regularly scheduled appearance. I believe it's this week, as now Nebraska is not bowl eligible and maybe need a jolt, something, anything. We will see.
Yeah, I think they could use a little bit of energy. Would be nice. A little injection of life into the program.
And that's what, I mean, you could tell Mickey in the postgame saying all the right things, but you can tell like his body language and just his look and, also being the cold that this has been a grind. As positive as he is and uplifting and keeping guys together, it just, now it's really starting to hit you where you don't have enough weapons to go to battle with teams.
No.
I mean, you are decimated. And then it really hits you even more of the past is definitely has caught up with you, and you can't get away from that past right now in terms of
The
roster
roster
management,
yeah.
all of the things that have ailed Nebraska get magnified in games where you go, man, you just had a competent offense. The defense is at least keeping its head above water, and you can't do anything about it. And I don't know, this is going to be a tough week for the offense to figure out who's going to play quarterback, and whoever plays quarterback, what they're going to be able to do. And then you mix in the whole offense has completely gone off the rails in terms of being successful. Anthony Grant can't run the ball.
Or even functional.
Wide receivers are dropping the football. Trey Palmer has been non-existent since Purdue. 11 catches, 50 yards, I think, and he's got 27 targets. It's the whole offense built around number 11 is now lost. And you have no idea what the identity is or what they're trying to do outside of the scripted plays, especially against Minnesota, which we loved on the opening drive, which they never went quarterback under center, 2 tight ends. I thought they might mix into some of that. I just thought it was that game plan of get in, get out, don't get anybody injured. Unfortunately, the guy that was calling plays and the guy that was starting to quarterback both got injured in the game. We don't have an update on Whipple.
That was all symbolic. Once Whipple took that hit.
By the way, he got
hammered.
I talked to a couple people that were right.
Yeah.
He got absolutely drilled.
He did. It looked
and
bad.
He had no chance to get out of the way.
No, it happened super fast. And, even a guy that moves well probably is not getting out of the way of that. It looked pretty bad on the sideline. And it was one of those things where, you're obviously it's bad for Nebraska to have your offensive coordinator go down, but you just worry about him as, he's not a young guy and, he's had some issues kind of health-wise throughout the season. So, it was good to see him get up because he was down there for a pretty long time.
Okay, you're a 65-year-old man who's been in the game for a long time. You got a ton of pride.
Oh, yeah.
And
you can see it.
To see when you don't feel strong and you've got people that are, helping you stand up.
Trying to help you, yeah.
And you just want to do your job. And then when you're helped onto a cart at halftime, it makes you look weak. I mean, that was unfortunate for Coach Whipple. And
he's thinking this might be the last time he's on a football field.
I thought he'd get knocked out. I thought, because I've been on the sidelines before where the play's coming at you and you try and get out of the way and somebody doesn't, and then they get hit. And what do? Bam! They hit their head on the
their head bounces off the field there. And I think that was the concern initially, was that there was some sort of head injury there. It doesn't. I mean, I don't know. He might have hit his head. It didn't appear that there was that was the main concern. It looked like his leg got taken out pretty good. But yeah, I mean, it was a really bizarre sequence at the end of the first half there where quarterback goes out on a super weird play. I mean, the Michigan guy barely touched him. He just got his leg caught up under him. And then you have this freak thing with Mark Whipple going down. And it just felt like this kind of looming cloud over the entire Nebraska program. And then you've got the roster management issues where you're talking about, where you don't feel good about your second string quarterback, much less your third string quarterback. And apparently he's not healthy either. It was just a really discouraging Saturday, and not because Michigan won or, I think everybody expected that, but just the whole vibe of the entire day and game was so just bleak that, I mean, even the weather, just the whole thing felt ominous for Nebraska football. And, you could really use some sort of exciting news to get us through the next 2 weeks, get us through Black Friday and on to something, hopefully a brighter future.
I just saw breaking news about West Virginia. I thought Neil Brown would be out.
No, AD.
The AD.
So Neil Brown probably not far behind.
Yep. But they did win Saturday.
Even though they got dominated by Oklahoma, they found a way to win that game. Oklahoma, by the way, 5-5.
Yeah, they're in rough shape.
Welcome to college football 2022, where Iowa could go to Indianapolis out of the Big Ten West. Oklahoma is 5-5. Texas A&M began the year in preseason top 10. They're not going to a bowl game. And yet Jim Mora, who overtook a program that was 4-32 in the last 3 years, they just went independent, which you thought was the death knell for football at UConn. He lost his starting quarterback 11 plays into the season. UConn on Saturday became bowl eligible with Jim Mora Jr.
Good for them.
Unbelievable. I legitimately could not believe it. It was every time I see something like that, it makes me like just more and more frustrated because it's not that hard.
Timing is everything.
It's not that hard to go to a bowl game, and yet we're in year 6. It's not that hard to go to a bowl game.
And West Virginia with that win so big that they were singing Country Roads in Munich yesterday.
Now that lets me know in Germany, how bad is German music? Because that's a popular song in Germany, is they sing John Denver's Country Roads.
Maybe they're just behind. Maybe they're just 40 years behind
It's
on
new to them.
American pop.
So that's a very like popular party song in Germany that is sung at a lot at sporting events and other places. They also sing Sweet Caroline. Is German music that bad that they have to sing Country Roads and Sweet Caroline, 2 songs in this country that we are like, especially one of them.
I don't think it's that. I think it's a weird European sports thing because they do this with English Premier League teams too, where they sing these bizarre old songs that they were like minor hits at the time. Like there's like random Elvis songs and things like that. Seriously, it's like Liverpool
Minds.
sings "You'll Never Walk Alone," which is an Elvis song most people have probably never heard of, and I think it's a random European sports thing more than it is the music singing in Germany thing. That's my vibe that I've got.
Good for, and I really liked the booth was packed with the NFL Network guys yesterday. They knew the history of why fans were singing it.
Oh, that's good.
Instead of
just being like, what the hell's going on?
They really like John
Are
Denver.
there a lot of West Virginia fans that have made the trip to Munich? But honestly, how bad is music in Germany that those fans want to sing those 2 songs?
I think it's coincidental more than
Okay.
I think it's a weird niche of European sports fandom they sing random old American songs.
They had 99 Luftballons. So I guess that ties into your point.
Listen, I'm here for the Goldfinger version of 99 red balloons.
Well played. All right. Still to come, Jimmy Watkins, Joel Lorenzi. When we come back, Tim's got a question in the Equitable Bank inbox about Trey Palmer. And we got a question about Mickey's comment about recruiting. People took it, I think, the wrong way. I know what he's getting at when it comes to future recruiting, because get used to more Nebraska-Michigan matchups. The TVs want the brands, and those are 2 big brands that are probably going to see a lot more of each other down the road in Nebraska and Michigan.
Yeah, I think
and they'll
that's fair.
see each other next year, the end of September when Michigan comes into Lincoln. How different will that game look like? Will that game next year be closer to Saturday or closer to the 2021 game?
Ooh, next year?
Think about that. Think about that. We got to go to break, but
Can I see who the head coach is first?
Don't you know already?
I'd like an official announcement.
Oh, come on. We have 4 different guys who are going to be the head coach at Nebraska. Isn't that that's what the hour is right now?
This is what we teased this last week. It's going to be a coaching timeshare.
You're the coach in the winter. You're the coach in the spring. You're the coach in the summer. And then you get the honor of coaching during the fall.
Yeah, you get I think they should split up the fall coaching. Everybody gets 3 games. Okay. You get the non-con. You're a non-con coach. Then you are these are the games we're losing against the East coach.
Why don't we just keep the interim tag on Mickey and let him go another year?
Permanent interim.
I'm going to pass on that.
I'm not surprised.
That's a no from me.
Back with more after this.
Mornings on 1620 The Zone is brought to you by MD West One Orthopedics, Neurosurgery, and Spine. The Connor Happer Show.
Connie Mack only won 9 pennants in his 55 years as a manager. What a bum.
Could you imagine sports radio in the time of Connie Mack? Well, I tell you, this Connie Mack guy just can't get it done. Can't win the big one. Can't get over the hump. Only 5 World Series. Connie Mack, more like Connie Hack. Am I right?
That's exactly how they talked.
The Connor Happer Show. Weekdays from 10 to 2 on 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast from the Godfather's Pizza Weather Center and KETV News Watch 7 on 1620 The Zone.
Mainly cloudy and chilly Monday with the chance for a few flurries as we get closer to lunchtime. More flurries possible late in the day with snow developing southeast of the metro. Highs in the mid-30s. I'm meteorologist Sean Everson from KETV News Watch 7.
1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Burton AC Heating, Plumbing, and More Time-Saving Traffic Center, that road construction on the JFK is starting to cause delays from Chandler Road all the way to the US 275 West interchange. We're also still seeing our regular delays on Dodge from 72nd Street all the way to 90th. And last but not least, we're keeping an eye out on that accident that has the left lane blocked on Dodge at Regency Parkway. We're still seeing stop-and-go traffic in that area and delays of up to 5 minutes. Remember to keep those seatbelts buckled. I'm Dan Campanen.
This time-saving traffic is brought to you by Saul's Jewelry and Loan.
Everyone knows Saul's pays top dollar for your gold, but Saul's pays cash on the spot for your precious metals too. Silver, gold, platinum, coins, bars. Who wants to wait to get paid? Get to Saul's Jewelry and Loan.
Saul's Jewelry and Loan. You'll find it all at Saul's Jewelry.
Buy your next vehicle your way from anywhere with Woodhouse. Start your journey online at woodhouse.com. Easily shop all new and pre-owned inventory. Explore payment options and apply for financing. Ready to purchase? Schedule your new vehicle for pickup from the dealership or have it delivered to your driveway. Need a little extra help in determining your perfect vehicle? Our knowledgeable and local dealerships can guide you to the vehicle that best matches your needs. Experience car buying your way with Woodhouse, a trusted auto partner since 1975.
Creighton Sports Update. Creighton women's basketball opens their home schedule tomorrow at DJ Sokol Arena as they host Nebraska. Tip-off is set for 6 p.m. on Flow Sports and 1180 The Zone. Limited tickets are available at gocreighton.com/tickets. That's Creighton versus Nebraska tomorrow night at 6 p.m. And that's your Creighton Sports Update.
1620 The Zone proudly supports Creighton Athletics.
Cool air temperatures mixed with warm soil temperatures means it's time to plant. Visit Lanahaas Garden Center for the Metro's largest selection of homegrown trees and plants. Rooted in quality, unmatched value. Lanahaas Nurseries, 192nd and Center.
For the past year, 42 Degrees has partnered with the Omaha Veterans Pantry. On Veterans Day, 42 Degrees will donate a portion of our sales to the food pantry, and your donations will reward you with a discount. So come help a veteran and save. 42 Degrees.
If you're like most Americans, you can see things are out of control. Global problems have local consequences, too many of them. And if the next news headline spins us into chaos, you'd better be ready. Grocery store supply chains are only as strong as their weakest link. Don't wait for them to break. Today's the day to secure emergency food for everyone in your family. My Patriot Supply is America's largest preparedness company. Our specially packaged and delicious food stays fresh for up to 25 years in storage. It'll be there when you need it. Go to mypatriotsupply.com and pick up several emergency food kits. There are a dozen different sizes that average over 2,000 calories per day. As we all know, calories equals energy equals survival. And as you'd expect from a true preparedness company, our food kits are in stock and ship quickly. Those who know what's coming are preparing today. Go to mypatriotsupply.com. mypatriotsupply.com.
Since this is a radio commercial, you can't see the people standing behind me. They're the Langfeld family. Everybody wave. Oh, sorry. You can't see them because radio. Anyway, the Langfelds are the family behind Langfeld Overhead Door, where they proudly install Midland garage doors to fit any space and style. And they don't take a backseat to anyone when it comes to their service. Because if something goes wrong, it's their name on the line. So they're going to make sure it goes right every single time. Langfeld Overhead Door, 402-234-2700.
Make the right call, fans. The Rooferees at John Higgins Weather Guard.
Rooferees. 1620 The Zone.
Mark in the Equitable Bank inbox says those two songs they sang in Germany at the Buccaneers Seahawks game yesterday, better than 99% of the garbage that's pumped out today. 99% is gives you a little wiggle
It seems
room.
high.
Little
It seems
wiggle room.
high.
The other part of the game in Germany is you quickly find out that the fields over in Europe are not built to handle large men playing on them. That turf was bad. You want to end the NFL going over to Europe to play games? Have a Tom Brady suffer a season-ending injury due to a bad field. Remember the situation in Mexico? One of the first games they played in Mexico City, how awful the turf was?
It's everywhere.
Yeah. It's just you have soccer communities and soccer stadiums, and the turf that they have, that turf is not built for 250 to 350 pound men running on it all the time. But that turf yesterday, I thought, oh man, Brady or somebody a well-known player is going to go down, out for the year. Whoop, the NFL is out.
It's also just it's a much different style of wear and tear. I mean, in soccer, you're kind of constantly moving. You're not digging in and kind of fighting. I mean, it's called a trench for a reason. You're kind of creating a trench there with these giant dudes on the line of scrimmage. This is just what a soccer pitch is designed for and what a football field is designed for are very, very different activities. And this is one of those situations where like grass is not all equal in terms of the playing surface. Soccer fields are not designed to withstand that type of action. Those guys are never clashing hardly ever on grass. It's a constant movement type thing. And yeah, it is dramatically smaller people that are moving.
And they're going to go back to Germany. I mean, the Germans love the NFL. I mean, the NFL wanted to get into Germany almost before they wanted to get into England.
Yeah.
And they love the American football.
Well, that's one of the...
And I imagine the Munich, Germany game, or somewhere in Germany that has a stadium that can handle an NFL game, you will see a yearly trip over there as they keep expanding the international games.
Well, that's one of the places that, like the World Football League and NFL Europe had their most success was Germany. Really,
wasn't the Frankfurt team always really good?
Yeah. The Dragons, I think Frankfurt, Germany really attached itself to American football. And you even had some, I think, academies sprout up a little bit in Germany where you've gotten a handful, not a ton, but a handful of college and NFL players. The guy that comes to my mind is Bjorn Werner. He was a first-round pick from Florida State to the Colts as a D end. He was probably the most prominent, but you've had some guys come over and play college ball. It's for whatever reason, Germany has really took a liking to American football. And so it's not surprising to me that Germany would be a place that the NFL kind of tried to ingratiate itself.
I remember Kurt Warner, John Kitna in Europe, and they were big there. The Scottish Claymores, remember the World League of American Football 30 years ago? I mean, they took to that too.
Shifting back to Nebraska. So let me, you wonder what Big Red overreaction would be like outside of our guy Lonnie that called. It was a typical post-Michigan end of the year show. We didn't set a record, by the way. John and I went longer than an hour.
How dare you?
I know. People kept calling.
How was your concert? Did you have a good...
I did not make it.
You didn't? Oh,
I did not make it.
That's actually wondering why y'all would go short.
No, we did not make it.
That's unfortunate.
One of the things that was said in the post game, and I think people, it's either the season's got to be over. Everybody's worn out. Okay, they're ready for the next thing. Is Mickey, who has, when you're an elite recruiter and that's what you have done for a living, and you've been very successful at the process of connecting and then getting the close, is you talk a lot about recruiting. And Mickey yesterday or on Saturday was asked about it, and talk about closing the gap or getting to a place where I think he has a great respect for Michigan in what they do, like how they're built. That would be the ideal scenario in Big Ten football to look like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's no reason Nebraska can't get there, but it's going to take a bit.
Yes.
Okay? It's going to take more than just recruiting. But he talks about recruiting, and he quickly answered a question about what he got to do. He said recruiting. And some people took that. I guess this is what I got in the Equitable Bank inbox is, oh, look at that. Didn't take it very long to start throwing players under the bus. If you're on that roster and you don't realize that they have to upgrade the talent and get depth in position groups, you're lost, because there are players that are playing that realize that they need some help. They need some reinforcements. But I think this is when Mickey is talking about recruiting, it's not just, hey, we got to recruit better, got to get better players. We all want to have better players. I think what he is saying is, as a staff, we have to recruit smarter. We cannot have misses. Every class is going to have a couple of guys that they don't transition from high school to college, even if you think they're going to be a superstar. Something goes wrong. So you have to account for those. But we have to cut down on our misses, and we have to be better. We have to be smarter recruiters. Now, for Nebraska to make hay, especially on the defensive line, it can't be all built on, hey, let's get guys in here and develop them. You got to win some recruiting battles.
Yeah, absolutely.
Epinesa was a 5-star. Okay. He didn't just show up in Iowa City and he was like, oh, look at that scrawny guy, and we build him up. You have to win at times the battle to get elite defensive linemen while you're working on the other part. So when he says about recruiting, to get better, we got to recruit. He, to me, is saying we got to recruit smarter by who we evaluate, who we offer a scholarship to, that we welcome onto the roster. If we're not on board across the board with this player that he can come here and play, then we can't be offering him a scholarship. We can't be offering him a scholarship hoping we're going to get another guy on his roster or down the road or making a connection or doing somebody a favor. We've got to be smarter in recruiting so we don't have all of these misses and that we can start to build back up certain position groups that are greatly lacking in depth, and also smarter in recruiting on the number of players you're offering at certain positions. So you are not so lopsided with the amount of wide receiver scholarship guys you have compared to defensive linemen or offensive linemen, and it gets one-sided and you go, okay, now we've had some attrition. We're in a deeper hole. So when he is talking recruiting, to me, he's saying we have to, at the University of Nebraska, recruit smarter. We all want better players, but we have to be smarter in the players that we're pursuing and bringing here to Nebraska.
Well, it's honestly, he could be talking about as much as the guys that aren't here as the guys that are here, because it's not just, hey, the guys that are on this roster, we need to get better versions of that. It's also the guys that we bring into these recruiting classes need to be guys that are going to stay here, because the attrition of these recruiting classes has been a huge problem for Nebraska. And you're dealing with a situation where, yeah, you're bringing in pretty good recruiting classes year over year, but what's actually left by the time those guys hit the field, or if they ever hit the field? So you mentioned recruiting smarter, and I agree. Part of it is the type of player. Part of it's the quality of player. Part of it's players that are just going to stick around to be developed and to become guys that you can use on the field, because it doesn't matter how good a recruit is. If he's gone in a year or two before he has a chance to make an impact on your program, then that was a miss. Even if he goes somewhere else and is good, if you weren't able to evaluate and show a plan for that guy to say, hey, this is how you become an NFL player while you're here at Nebraska. This is how you become all Big Ten while you're here at Nebraska. If you can't keep that guy on campus, then it doesn't matter that you won the recruiting battle. It doesn't matter that he was a really talented guy that you got here on campus, because he's not performing for you on Saturdays. You have to get guys that are actually going to be here, not just look good on a recruiting ranking in December or in February. You need them to look good on the roster in August and September, and then you're kind of getting somewhere with recruiting. The recruiting numbers have not been bad for Nebraska for the most part. The roster has been bad for Nebraska. There's a disconnect there.
There's, the natural reaction is, oh, he's throwing guys under the bus. Isn't that the whole recruiting game? Is you're recruiting over the player that is here, even if he is your all Big Ten player? Your goal as a recruiter is to find somebody that is better than that person, even if they are performing at an all Big Ten level. You're cooking with peanut oil if you got that. So any player playing collegiate sports right now doesn't realize that your coach is trying to recruit above you. That happens all the time, because you know what? When they got you, they were recruiting above the player that was in. So that's how it works. So nobody is butthurt. They get that. If you don't get
that's the game.
If you don't get that, you don't like competition.
You probably don't belong in major college football. Listen, Alabama's trying to replace somebody with Bryce Young that's better than Bryce Young right now. That's always the goal.
I don't think you can do that.
They're going to try, though, right? They're going to try and find somebody that's better than the guy they have. That's always the goal. Ohio State does it with their quarterbacks. That's why you had 4 guys on a roster that were going to end up in the NFL. Only 3 of them were in the NFL's quarterbacks. But, that's the point of all of this. You're always constantly trying to upgrade your roster. And guys understand that. And like you said, if they don't understand that, they don't like competition, and they probably shouldn't be playing high-level college football. They should welcome the opportunity to prove themselves. And most guys do, to be honest. Most guys love the battle. They love the competition. And most guys like winning a job because they won the job, not because there was no one else to give the job to. That's a sign of a better football team. And Nebraska doesn't have that at very many spots.
That's Robbie. Jimmy here as well. I'm Gary. We'll go Jimmy Watkins and Joel Lorenzi in the last hour. Plus, we'll try and sneak in some emails and some tweets on a Monday morning. Kickoff a week. It's Wisconsin week.
Wisconsin week. Big game.
Jim Leonard, interim head coach.
It's the interim bowl.
It is. Will there be a tag removed before we get to Saturday?
And on which side? Dun, dun, dun.
Bill Jones.
And Olivia.
Here again for Jones Bros Cupcakes and Cafe. Jones Bros is famous here at Omaha for catering delicious breakfasts and lunches for business meetings.
If I owned a business, I cater Jones Bros every day.
Sounds good to me, Olivia.
For breakfast, I cater French toast with warm syrup and croissant donuts. That'd be a good day at work.
Go with it, Olivia. Check out our website at jonesbroscupcakes.com for catering.
Jones Bros Cupcakes in Exarban Village.
Caller 4 right now. 402-951-1620. Qualifies for 1620 The Zone's 4-quarter pick'em. It's your chance to pick 4 football games correctly against the spread to win $1,620. Call 402-951-1620. Call now to qualify with 1620 The Zone. Get a full breakdown of what went right and what went wrong immediately after every Nebraska game with Big Red Overreaction. Presented by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. And by Coors Light, keeping Nebraska chill. Also brought to you by Burton AC Heating, Plumbing, and more. Join the show immediately after the game and sound off with the good, the bad, and the ugly. Big Red Overreaction on 101.9 The Keg and 1620 The Zone.
Kevin Harlan here from Monday Night Football on Westwood One. Coming up, NFC East action when the 8-0 Philadelphia Eagles play host to the Washington Commanders. Can Jalen Hurts and the Eagles keep their undefeated record on track? Join Ross Tucker and me to find out. Don't miss any of the action on Monday Night Football.
If it's the NFL, it's on 1180 The Zone.
Mornings on 1620 The Zone, brought to you by MD West One Orthopedics, Neurosurgery, and Spine.
This view was worth a hike.
Right? And it's a good way to stay on top of my health.
Yes, I'm Cologuard, a prescription colon cancer screening option for people 45 plus at average risk. Have you screened for colon cancer?
Not yet.
Don't wait. It's more treatable when caught in early stages.
Tell me more.
Cologuard is non-invasive and it's used at home. It detects altered DNA in your stool to find 92% of colon cancers.
92%?
Yep, even those in early stages.
This was seen in a clinical study with patients 50 and older. Any positive result should be followed by a diagnostic colonoscopy. False positive and negative results may occur. Cologuard is not a replacement for colonoscopy in high-risk patients. Do not use if you have had adenomas, have inflammatory bowel disease and certain hereditary syndromes, or a personal or family history of colon cancer.
Most insured patients pay $0. Ask your provider or an online prescriber if Cologuard is right for you, or visit Cologuard.com.
I'm in.
At Dingman's Collision Center, you voted them first place in Best in Omaha for the past 17 years. So they want to say thank you for choosing the Dingman family and their incredible technicians to repair your vehicles. At Dingman's, they'd rather be the best than apologize for anything less.
When I need a new furnace or AC, I choose a company that provides solutions that meet my needs and budget.
When my furnace or AC needs repairs, I call a company with reliable technicians, not commissioned salespeople.
When I need a straight answer, I choose a company that is honest and has integrity.
At Standard Heating and Air Conditioning, we provide the best solutions for your needs and budget. It's just part of
the way we do the things we do.
Carrier, turn to the experts.
How would you like to come home to a bartender who will fix you any cocktail you want?
I'll have an old fashioned.
I'll have a margarita.
Now you can with the Bartesian Home Cocktail Maker. Bartesian is a sleek machine the size of a coffee maker that makes premium cocktails at the touch of a button. Choose from over 50 different cocktails, from classics to the most exotic premium cocktails served in the best bars today. You'll always get freshly mixed, perfectly balanced cocktails with the Bartesian Cocktail Maker. And now get Bartesian's best Black Friday deal ever at bartesian.com/enjoy. Entertaining? The Bartesian is ideal for parties. No need to stock all kinds of individual mixers for complicated recipes. every guest gets the cocktail of their choice in seconds. The Bartesian makes a wonderful gift for anyone who loves a fine premium cocktail. Now get Bartesian's best Black Friday deal ever. It's available right now, only at bartesian.com/enjoy. That's BARTESIAN.com/enjoy for Bartesian's best deal ever. Only at bartesian.com/enjoy.
Duck Defense Midwest makes your home healthier and improves the life of your HVAC system. So improve the health of your home and everyone in it. Go to cleanairradio.com for a special duct cleaning offer for Zone listeners. That's cleanairradio.com.
1620 The Zone.
Shout out to two athletic programs here. One, Wayne State. You ever been to Wayne, America?
Yeah, I used to drive by or through there quite a bit on my way up to Norfolk.
Okay.
It's a little off the. You have to kind of take a jog after you get pretty close to Norfolk.
It does, but people that go to school there, live there, call it Wayne, America.
Yeah.
Their football program's going to the NCAA Division II playoffs for the second time.
There you go.
First time since 2008. And then their volleyball program is a beast. And I think they're the number one seed.
Okay.
Division II, UNK and Wayne State are in the D2 volleyball. But Creighton men's soccer. Hello.
Yes, sir.
They rolled through the Big East tournament. They outscored the opposition 11-1. They shut out Georgetown yesterday. Did our guys score every goal? Duncan McGuire?
I'm not sure. I didn't check.
But today they will find out where they're going for the NCAA men's soccer tournament. So congratulations to Creighton, who fought to get in.
Yes.
And then all it takes is you get into the tournament one time.
They were on the verge, within a game of not making it to even the Big East tournament. And they've had a very strange year.
Yes, they have.
Because
the way they started in the middle of the year and now at the end.
The way they started where they were just bludgeoning teams. And then they kind of hit that lull in the middle of the season. And now they kind of ended the Big East season the way they started it up. And just like that, you're going dancing.
And there's another thing I was thinking about you this weekend while I was watching TV.
Only got one goal from our guy, Duncan McGuire. Disappointing.
Hashtag failure. So a lot of the attention around Ole Miss and Alabama. And now Kiffin is 0-3 against Saban. But Ole Miss has to do everything possible to keep Lane Kiffin in Oxford. Because Ole Miss football without Lane Kiffin is nothing.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be okay. But Lane Kiffin brings more attention to Ole Miss football. So all this flirtation with Auburn, Ole Miss needs to go out of their way to say, whatever you want, we will keep you here. Because they need to have Lane Kiffin attached to Ole Miss football for the brand, for what he's doing. They can't just let him leave town and all of a sudden all the excitement and players that he has brought, that just completely disappears.
And his brand is way stronger than the university's brand
Yes,
at this point. Not close.
But it dawned on me watching the game day features on Lane Kiffin, how great a name it is for his dog that is called Juice.
Yeah.
What a great name for a dog.
Juice Kiffin?
Yes.
I don't know that I've ever met a dog named Juice before.
Followed him on Twitter the other day. I feel like I'm part of the conversation.
The name Juice for a dog has now gone up in my power ratings of dog names.
Yeah, pretty high up there now.
It's unique.
It is. It's very unique.
Juice.
You get a lot of there was a run on like Thor's there for a while. People would get a big big dog and name it Thor. But yeah, Juice is I like a unique dog name. You don't get you get a lot of repeats. So I appreciate the creativity from. I wonder if it was Lane or one of his kids that named the dog Juice.
I don't know. That seems like a Lane?
It kind of does.
Yeah.
He's very active retweeting his dog.
Mm-hmm.
He's working that social media.
See, that's why if you have a guy like Lane Kiffin and you're a program that has kind of been, you've been 7-8 wins.
Middling.
And you think, hey, man, we might have 9 wins. Maybe that one year we get 10. And a lot of it has to do with the guy that is your head coach. You can't let him leave.
No.
Ole Miss has to do everything to make sure Lane Kiffin stays there. Because just imagine the world of Ole Miss football without Lane Kiffin. Now, I know they've had certain players, they've had history, but in this day and age of how college football works and attracting players, Lane Kiffin is your Ole Miss football. You can't let him go anywhere. And whether he's in it to get a raise at Ole Miss, he's worth it. You got to
Done.
keep in
Whatever
there for
you
the
have to
brand
pay
of
him.
Ole Miss football.
No Lane, no juice. Ole Miss is boring.
Yeah, I mean, like I understand there's some history there, but the Mannings don't get players to campus. You know what I mean? Lane Kiffin does.
Yeah.
That dude gets it done. He puts in really good recruiting classes, and oh, by the way, he can coach. Really good offensive mind. We've seen this year, which I thought was really interesting. We always think of Lane as this like pass happy, open it up, air it out guy. Ole Miss is an incredible running team this year. And actually, if you go back to Jalen Hurts' year at Alabama, they ran the ball a ton. He works with whatever he's got on his roster to put together a good offense, which I really appreciate about him, rather than trying to square peg round hole situation.
That's good coach.
Not sure if that applies to anybody here in locally, but Lane looks at what he's got and he does whatever is necessary to get the most out of that offense with those players. And his ability to basically, I mean, to go from airing it out one year with Matt Corral to being one of the best running teams, I think the best rushing team in the SEC the next year with just hardly any drop off is really incredible. He's so good for college football. And you're right. Ole Miss, if Ole Miss loses Lane Kiffin, that is a searing indictment on something that happened there, because unless he's leaving for there's a handful of jobs that you would look at and say that's a clear upgrade, but I don't know that Auburn's one of them, unless he just really doesn't like Oxford, Mississippi, which is possible. Losing him to a place like Auburn would be really, really bad for Ole Miss.
RG3 would disagree and say Auburn better job than, or Nebraska better job than Auburn, for people out there that say it. Just want to throw that there. I haven't gotten your thoughts on RG3. I'm waiting.
I did think of you watching the game.
How great was he?
Love that hat.
People are losing their mind with him. I warned y'all.
Listen, he doesn't bother me the way some people do, because I kind of get his deal. And I think more importantly, he gets his deal. I think he understands what he's doing. Whereas like it's cheesy and kind of cringy, but it's different than like a Russell Wilson cringe, where I don't think Russell Wilson gets that he's a caricature. I think Robert Griffin kind of just leans into it. And so it really, as it can be a little bit much, but it doesn't bother me nearly as much as some other people.
Yeah,
it's 34-3.
My only issue is I don't like him paired with Mark Jones. I'm not a Mark Jones
No,
fan.
I didn't.
But I'm okay with RG3 because he's different. Maybe some unnecessary comments or too much, but that's what ESPN wants. They want something different. You know, they love Bill Walton, but Bill Walton's never going to be on the number one game for ESPN.
No.
They like RG3.
Yeah,
but RG3 is not going to be doing the SEC game of the day.
No, it's an attraction to an otherwise non-attractive game,
which is exactly what it was.
But I've watched him a lot this year because the games he's been on, I've had some interest. He's just different. Okay, they let him let his personality out. It's not for everyone, but it's unique compared to if you were flipping around some other analysts and how they're trying to talk about the game.
Yeah, no, it's one of those things where he's not for everybody, and he is pretty over the top. But like I said, there seems to be a self-awareness about it, so it doesn't bother me the way it does with other people. Like, I would rather listen to RG3 than I would Matt Millen, because I think Matt Millen just isn't good. Like, he just bugs me, and he's going to say no harm, no foul in situations that don't make any sense about 12 times a game. And so that bothers me infinitely more than a guy just trying to have fun, even if it's a little cheesy.
All right, we'll talk to Jimmy Watkins from the World Herald for the last time. Jimmy is off to Cleveland after today, so he'll make one final appearance, and we'll make him cry. That's coming up next. Hey, right now, new customers get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. It's free bets back if your first bet doesn't win. All you have to do with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, is sign up with the promo code ZONE. It is safe, secure, easy to use, live betting, and you can combine your favorite bets, money line, point spreads to player props, and you can be a big winner. I saw a lot of people over at the casino this weekend. They had their FanDuel app out. I was signing people up. I was like, you got it? You got it? You got it? Guy said, I already got it. And I said, well, open your app. You could be a big winner. And you could be a big winner today if you sign up using the promo code ZONE for your first no-sweat first bet. That's promo code ZONE. Make every moment more this season with FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NFL. 21 over, present now. Well, first on the real money wager, only Refund issues non-withdrawable free bets that expire in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-BETS-OFF.
Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone. 1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Burton AC Heating, Plumbing, and More Time-Saving Traffic Center, things are looking fairly calm now across the Omaha metro area. Just some slight delays on Dodge Street in between 90th and 72nd, as well as delays on West Center Road sporadically in between 204th Street and 156th. We've got some snow in the forecast today, so be safe out there on those morning commutes, and remember to buckle those seatbelts. I'm Dan Campanen.
This time-saving traffic was brought to you by Fernando's.
Thank you, Omaha. It's triple first place wins for Fernando's. Fernando's is honored and grateful to you for voting them the best Mexican restaurant in the Best of Omaha and Omaha Choice Awards and Best Margarita in the Omaha Choice Awards. Fernando's, family owned and community served.
Fall is in full swing, and that means there's a lot of great events coming up all over the area, from the Huskers in football or basketball, the concerts, holiday shows. There's so much to check out. And when you need tickets, be sure to check out my friends at ticketsforless.com. You want to go see the Huskers in Memorial Stadium or the Chiefs at Arrowhead or maybe that big show at CHI Health Center, Tickets for Less has you covered. So save on your next order at ticketsforless.com. When you use the code THEZONE, go to ticketsforless.com. Find the seats that you want to the events you want to be at. Use the promo code ZONE. Good on any ticket purchase at ticketsforless.com.
MD West One's team of neurosurgical spine specialists is the largest and most advanced in the greater Omaha metro. MD West One has been voted the #1 private practice and #1 in neurosurgery and spine by Best of Omaha year after year. They can help if you're suffering from recurring neck and back pain, weakness or numbness in your extremities, sciatica pain, or any other recurring issues stemming from your neck or back. Go to mdwest1.com to meet the spine team at MD West One.
Now is the time for a furnace inspection, and McCarthy's 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning is here to help. An annual furnace inspection and tune-up from McCarthy's is essential to keep dangerous carbon monoxide from leaking into your home. Join McCarthy's Comfort Club and get a twice-annual inspection of your furnace and AC, discounts on repairs, and priority service, all for a low monthly price that will never go up. Visit McCarthy's1hour.com and schedule your furnace tune-up. Stay warm and safe with McCarthy's 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning. Always on time or you don't pay a dime.
Lula Bee's Breakfast, Brunch, and Bar is downtown Omaha's go-to spot for quality food with a Mexican flair. Lula Bee's has everything from French toast and omelets to shrimp tacos and burgers. There's even a full bar with uniquely inspired cocktails. Want to have a party? Lula Bee's has a fun and festively decorated party room that seats up to 65 of your favorite humans with custom catering available. Book for holiday parties, family events and celebrations, or just brunch with all your friends. Lula Bee's, 9th and Dodge, or at lulabeesomaha.com.
From basketball to volleyball, baseball to softball, soccer, tennis, and so much more, the Creighton sports season is packed with action. The 1620 The Jays podcast, presented by Barry Law, covers it all. Each week, we visit with Blue Jay athletes and coaches to hear their stories and document their climb through the Big East Conference. The 1620 The Jays podcast drops each Friday morning and is found at 1620thezone.com and all major podcast platforms. Just search 1620 The Jays. Covering all things Creighton Blue Jays, it's the 1620 The Jays podcast, presented by Barry Law from 1620 The Zone.
Shop Woodhouse Place Hyundai and Nissan, 144th and Giles. KOZN, Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs.
All right, last hour on a Monday, and the last time we talked to Jimmy Watkins from the Omaha World Herald. Oh, boy. Good morning.
Good morning. I guess for one more day, that's still true.
Yeah, yeah. Are you sad?
So sad. Oh, my goodness. We've had a long string of goodbye events over the last couple weeks, and I've just met so many incredible people at work or through work. And man, it's tough. Anyone who works in this business can understand. It feels like right when you get your feet under you is when the next opportunity comes sometimes, and that's really hard to pick up and start over again sometimes. Say goodbye to all the good friends and contacts and people that you work with via the teams you cover and all that stuff. All good people, all good relationships that you have to at the very least put on hold. It's hard.
For people that don't know, and I guess you kind of, or one of your colleagues shared it. You are leaving here, and you have a great opportunity that is ahead of you that gets you closer to your family.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, I got a job offer from Cleveland.com. I'll be floating around a bunch of different teams that are covering teams that basically nobody from Cleveland likes. It's called the Rivalry Beat. So Michigan football, Pittsburgh Steelers, whoever the Cavs and Guardians end up playing in a playoff series, that sort of stuff. And we got family stuff going on right now that I think makes it important for me to be closer to home right now. So I just it makes a lot of sense. As hard as it is to leave, it makes a lot of sense right now.
Jimmy, I know it hasn't been the most successful run of Nebraska sports while you've been here, but do you have a particular game that you've covered that's going to stick out as a particularly happy memory you can take back to Cleveland with you?
Man, that Michigan game was special last year, man. That football game felt like that's the closest I've ever been to, feeling the pinnacle of college football. I mean, I know that team ended up winning 3 games, but it certainly didn't seem like that was going to happen that night. It was such a great atmosphere. The game was bad. It was actually one of our worst deadlines last year. We had to get everything that we were doing, we had to get in the absolute second that game ended. There was so much uncertainty with that game, so that made it kind of terrible at the same time. I kept teasing. I sit next to Dirk Challen in the press box. I just kept teasing him about overtime, and he just kept cussing out. It was stressful, but it was. I mean, that's what you do the job for, man. Those games are so fun.
Hey, so let's. I mean, you still are on the clock today, so let's talk. Let's start with basketball. All right, so 2-0, and granted, it's Maine and Omaha, but you didn't lose a bye game in your first week, and now you essentially have a week off, and then they play St. John's on Thursday. If you start to piece some things together, and one of the things that stands out, Jimmy, and maybe you and I had talked about this the other day, is Fred keeps going back to this is a team that the fans will like. He doesn't really say, hey, this is a team that fans will go, wow, look at them shoot the basketball. But he always keeps saying, this is a team that fans will like. How long does that last? Because you do notice they look like they are more together. They fundamentally do some things that you haven't seen in the past. So they've got that stuff down. Now they still got issues of scoring and shooting the basketball consistently, but saying that fans will like the team, how much leeway does that buy you this season?
That's an interesting way of framing it, because I think in so many ways this roster construction is a direct response to last year's failed roster construction. And the reason why I think Fred keeps hammering that home is that, I mean, last year's team was so hard to watch. There are many people in my Nebraska basketball circle who have told me that it's their least favorite team that they've ever watched at Nebraska. And there's been some jerseys. And so I think that he wants to keep saying that, maybe almost like I'm half kidding here, but to remind people how bad it was last year, and to remind people that, hey, even if we are really struggling to score the ball right now, this is still progress. And it's true. Like, it's incremental, but keeping your cool when a mid-major team goes on a run against you, not falling, not coming unglued the way they did against Western Illinois last year, that is better than last year. As for how long that will last, I mean, at some point, the guys can be as likable, and I think that all of these dudes really are. Like, Sam Griesel's like one of the nicest kids I've ever met. Emmanuel Bandamel is like just radiates good energy. Yeah, all these, and that's not to leave anybody out, but the entire team is super duper likable and has a great attitude. But like, you have to win. Like, the results have to follow at a certain point. Like, if this team wins 10, 11 games, it doesn't really matter how hard they play or, how likable the personalities are on the team. Like, the other thing that Fred has been saying a lot over the last year is, I understand it's a results business. And that's That's what it comes down to at the end of the day. So St. John's, Joel was calling me a little bit crazy on our last podcast. I don't think it beat St. John's. St. John's has a lot of in my opinion, St. John's has a lot of the ingredients this year that Nebraska had last year. Got a lot of dudes on the team that think they're that dude. They don't have a lot of shooting. That can make it hard on teams. They want to play super fast. They have a coach entering a pivotal year. Like that's the situation that you could see that coach getting fired if it doesn't work out this year. And Nebraska just Fred's in a similar position, of course, but I just think the ecosystem around him is a lot more stable this time around. And if they can hang around in that game, I'd be interested to see how it goes.
Jimmy, could you make the argument that the way the team looks this year feels more like how you would start rebuilding a team in year one as opposed to how you would retool things in year 5?
Yeah, absolutely. I think they did a total reset of the program after last year. I mean, you have a few pieces that carry, if you're restarting a program, you could start with worse than with Wilhelm Bryan, CJ Wilcher, Derek Walker, and Casey. That's not bad for a program that's just started. But you can paint this tenure a lot of different ways. Yes, they're basically starting right now. This has a year one feel to it. You could also, there are people in the program who have said this, like, well, actually, it could be his 4th year if you look at the calendar, which is probably counting, by the way. But that first year, they didn't have enough time to put a roster together, and then COVID, and it's just like, I don't know how to stomach that because, you know what, in some cases, they're right. COVID was really hard on everybody. We accept that, I remember trying to get myself through writing high school prep stories during the pandemic, and it was just harder. And I was like, you know what? This is an unprecedented world event, so it's okay that I only got 2 of the 3 stories that I needed to get done today. Can't we give basketball teams the same grace? It's like it's an excuse, but it's not an excuse. And that makes Trev's evaluation of the program all that much more interesting and complicated, in my opinion.
Jimmy Watkins from the World Herald joining us. Let's shift to football. Is Trey Palmer's struggles more than he doesn't have number 11 and throwing in the football?
I mean, I know Mickey's been saying he needs to play through contact a little bit better, but I do think it has a lot to do with number 11 not being out there, man. Like, oh man, I wrote this on Saturday after the game. It feels like most programs that are squared away are in a place where Nebraska wants to be. They've got 2 quarterbacks, including the starter, that they feel good about playing in any given week, and maybe a third guy that you feel good playing in a pinch. I think if you put Truth Serum and Mickey Joseph and Mark Whipple's cup this morning, I'm not sure they feel that way about either of the guys they have right now.
Mm-hmm.
They're still starting a guy that they said was playing nervous and was having trouble reading the defense, and they don't think the guy behind that guy is. I know they said on Saturday that Smothers been dealing with an injury, but they don't feel comfortable enough with him. He's healthy enough to play. He's healthy enough to play, right? That's what we have to assume in football. They don't feel good enough about him to put him in over the guy who's playing nervous and can't read the defense. It's not a good situation behind Casey. I don't think they have a chance to beat Iowa or Wisconsin if Casey doesn't play.
Jimmy, you mentioned you don't think they have a chance to beat Iowa or Wisconsin. Where would you tell Nebraska fans to try and find some excitement before the end of the season?
Coaching search, baby. Hope springs eternal. Every year. Every time you got a new coach, it's all positive. We stop every coach. I don't know if you can. I bet one of the first 4 questions that's answered at the introductory press conference, the phrase or something like this phrase, "We're not here to talk about the past," will be uttered, and it'll be time to look forward and all these exciting new high school guys committing because they know that coach and like that coach, transfer portal guys, and it'll be great. That's probably. Hey, if Casey plays, you might have. I think these next 2 games could be pretty fun. Both those offenses are inept, quite frankly. Defenses are good, but Casey could put some points on the board against them, so that'd be fun. I just don't at that point you're in college football purgatory rooting for 5 and 7. It's a sad place to be. It's coaching search time.
You're the new head coach at Nebraska, and we dispelled the rumor because you're moving on to Cleveland, which would make it tough to be the head football coach at Nebraska. Your number one priority when you slide into your chair, that nice big chair in that big office in North Stadium, your number one priority will be?
Get dudes on the line of scrimmage. Get dudes on the line of scrimmage. That's been, I know the Big Ten West is dissolving here pretty soon. And I think the personality of the Big Ten West is going to change a little bit. Like when the gold standard is Iowa/Wisconsin, it makes sense that everyone's trying to play clock control football. Now that we're all going to be sort of melded together here, the gold standard is Ohio State, Michigan, soon USC. Michigan does play a little bit of that physical style, but those other two teams play a little different. So I think you're going to see Big Ten teams have to open it up a little bit. That doesn't mean that the line of scrimmage is any less important. That's just something that hasn't been good enough definitely in my 1 year on the beat, but hearing Sam and Chattel and Dirk and all those guys talk about it in car rides and press boxes, whatever, it goes back way longer than that. And I think that's the foundation of how you build teams. You build it inside out. You find a nice young quarterback that you like and can develop. And you know what? It's a heck of a lot of time for that. Heck of a lot easier for that guy to develop when he has time to do it. Those skill players are going to, I don't know if we're going to be able to keep the Janner and Bonners or the Coldest Crawfords around town, but they were saying nice things about those guys on the radio last week. None of that matters if the quarterback is getting eaten alive, or you can see them come out of their breaks, right? So where it's got to start, like I said, the Big Ten brand is going to change a little bit, but Wisconsin, to some degree, is always going to be Wisconsin and have awesome tailbacks, and there still is no more helpless feeling not being able to stop the run. So it's the defensive line too, but you got to get dudes on the interior and build out from there. I truly believe that.
Jimmy, you played the press conference game for the new head coach, so I wanted to ask, if you were an odds maker, which would you put at better odds as asked first, whether or not the new head coach has spoken to Tom Osborne yet, or whether or not the new coach has spoken to Mickey Joseph about staying on staff yet?
I think we've finally reached a point where someone else is, at least in this particular situation, someone else has maybe more pressing conversation to be had with the new coach than Tom. The Mickey thing is, he's a great recruiter, and every coach should want him, actually, I think. But some coaches want their own guy. Mm-hmm. And if you believe in a coach who wants their own guy, I don't think that should be a deterrent from making the hire. And big picture, I think what you need from a guy, this is a tough needle that they're trying to thread here now. They need a guy who can see the forest through the trees, but also knows how to trim up those trees along the way. And what I mean by that is, right now, we need Nebraska to get from 3-4 win team to 7-8 win team. We're trying to get to Minnesota land, which seems so far away, and that's crazy because it shouldn't be. But then you also need to get to Minnesota land to Michigan Mountain or something like that, right? You want a guy who can do both. That's hard, man. It's hard to be a developmental program and shoot for the stars at the same time when patience it's just at an all-time low, and things can happen quickly in the portal. It's hard to keep things together. I do think it's a challenging job to take on, not for necessarily the typical ways that people say it is, the noise around the program and all that. I just think you're in a brutal conference and you have a big challenge ahead of you. But I'm excited to see how it unfolds, and I'm excited to see all my pals writing about it.
Do you foresee, you name a head coach, so you have some clarification there on who the new head coach is. Yeah. But do you also foresee at the same time or shortly thereafter, you also get clarification on the role of Mickey Joseph?
Yeah, because I think you're having those conversations while you're talking to the coach, right? If let's say Trev knows who the guy is right now. I don't know if that's true or not, but if he does, he's had that conversation already. It would be weird to not have it. I think it would be unfair to Mickey to not have that conversation, and unfair to the new coach to not have that conversation. We just got to have clarity on where everything stands before that announcement is made, I think. And that coach knows that question is going to come too, so he's going to want to be prepared for it. I can't imagine they wouldn't have. Maybe they'll keep it close to the vest. I don't know why they would, but people just like keeping secrets in this business sometimes. But I'm pretty sure they're going to have an idea of where Mickey goes whenever they have a new coach.
Wouldn't you have liked to have been the fly on the wall if they had their usual Sunday sit down yesterday?
I don't know that there's a ton to talk about, man. Mickey, that game was super ugly, but that game was about a lot more than what Mickey Joseph has been doing for the last 2 months, man.
Well, and I'm going at it from the standpoint that of all the stuff that Mickey has done in 2 months, Saturday felt like, okay, I've hit the wall emotionally. There's not much more I can do.
I almost felt that way a little bit about Minnesota. He just felt like in the press conference afterwards, he just didn't have the same uptick to him. It just felt like he's like, all right, I've given all the answers I can give. You guys kind of know where we're at, and yeah, he kind of sounded a little defeated after that game.
What do you think the advantage would be of, let's say, we'd played this hypothetical that Trev already knows who the head coach would be. What do you think the advantage would be of waiting to announce it until after the season's over?
Window dressing. They don't want to. If they haven't announced it yet and they know who it is, that to me says that it's a guy who has another job right now, and he's trying to focus on that job, and Trevor's trying to respect that. I don't think it doesn't really matter whether it comes out now or then, because people are going to assume that it was done for weeks anyways. So it won't save that coach any goodwill at the stop he's at now, whoever he is. But optics game would be easier to play. That coach doesn't have to answer questions about it at their current stop, stuff like that. Just making it easier on the new guy that you're bringing in and accommodating him any way you can.
I agree. Hey, I appreciate our friendship and getting to know each other over the last year plus. I'm bummed that you're leaving because it's always great to see you. But hopefully you're leaving the beat in good hands, and I know what you're going to is going to be really, really good for you. So, thank you.
Gary, good to see you on Thursday. What a way to go out.
I know you're walking around telling everybody this is your last game you're covering, and I'm like, oh my God, it's supposed to be a happy time, and Jimmy's like bringing everybody down.
Yeah, it was a sad guy parade.
Do we know who's going to replace you?
We know who's going to be. I don't know if it's my business to share, but we know who's going to be at the next game. I can say that much. You met him. Well, you know him, I think.
Yeah, I know.
You talked to him on Thursday. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I've known him for a while, but I didn't know if that was public. And I mean, a lot of people want. That's
Maybe
what
it is. I don't know.
You've left. You've done a good job on the beat, so people are very curious. They want their Nebraska basketball information.
I know they do. God bless those people. They've been through a lot.
Well, now you're going to a city where you're going to encounter a lot of Nebraska isms from fan base.
I've
downtrodden.
often made that comparison.
Yeah. Well, hey, I appreciate it. Don't be a stranger. If we have anything that comes up, I'm sure we'll get in touch with you. Iowa JD wants to know, are you going to fill the role now of asking tough questions as a Ohio reporter to Kirk Ferentz?
I think that's a role I can fill in any room. So if Kirk starts popping off again and Doug Pomeroy's not around, you can sure I'll be around.
Great stuff. Thanks, Jimmy. Safe travels to the new destination. That's Jimmy Watkins from the World Herald. Again, today is the last day. That was it. Now we got to go find somebody to fill our Nebraska basketball role on Monday.
Yeah, I'd say I don't know Jimmy as well as you do, but it's big shoes to fill.
Well, it's you had Jimmy and Chris Basnett were covering it last year. Now that Lee Enterprises is fully with each other, and they share so much coverage, so they went to one beat writer, and Baz went to do preps, which he absolutely loves and is doing a killer job. But he was a great basketball guy.
Yeah,
and so he's ingrained in that now, and so they've found somebody else who is young and have a lot of energy and going to write a lot about Nebraska basketball.
Yeah, you got to be a grinder. It's a hard-working gig.
Would you consider our next guest a grinder when it comes to the Creighton beat?
Oh, absolutely.
Got a lot of good stuff to write about.
Absolutely.
A nice little 2-3 week stretch here for Creighton athletics.
This is a nice soft landing into Creighton basketball for him, though. You don't have to.
Yeah.
I started doing post game the year after Doug for Blue Jay overtime. So I did not have as nice of an entry into Creighton basketball as Joel is getting.
Well, we'll find out how soon do we think in tonight's game that Joel will start writing his story on the Creighton Holy Cross game that begins at 8:00.
I would say second media timeout.
Okay. All right.
Early or late?
Well, they also got deadline.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You got
so you might have to, do ahead and
maybe make like an outline ahead of time and fill in some pertinent details.
We'll get his thoughts on the first week of the season so far from the St. Thomas, North Dakota game. And also we'll talk some NBA as well, because his namesake, Joel Embiid, had a monster, unbelievable night last night.
He did okay
in the NBA. That stat line. Oh, hello. Was it 59, 11 and 8?
7 or 8? Yeah.
Yeah.
Stupid. That's blocks, by the way. That last number is blocks.
After scoring 42 against Utah in the previous game.
Just run of the mill, no big deal. Just basically, you couldn't get the one more to get 60? Couldn't get one more?
I know.
Come on, man.
We'll talk hoops with Joel coming up next.
Mornings on 1620 The Zone is brought to you by MD West One Orthopedics, Neurosurgery, and Spine. The Connor Happer Show.
I'm going to bury a take in here. S'mores are overrated.
Whoa! What kind of a monster are you? Explain yourself. Show your work, Connor.
Melted marshmallow, guys?
Delicious.
No. Not really. Not really at all. Why? Marshmallow is not a good thing. Marshmallows aren't good.
The Connor Happer Show. Weekdays from 10 to 2 on 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast from the Godfather's Pizza Weather Center and KETV News Watch 7 on 1620 The Zone.
Mainly cloudy and chilly Monday with the chance for a few flurries as we get closer to lunchtime. More flurries possible late in the day with snow developing southeast of the metro. Highs in the mid-30s. I'm meteorologist Sean Everson from KETV News Watch 7.
The Zone Hotline is powered by Los Hills Harley-Davidson, your home in the hills.
Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill has been making your game day experience one to remember for 18 years with our award-winning char-buffed wings and $7.99 Monday through Friday lunch specials. But now your game day just got bigger and better with Oscar's newly upgraded audio-video system. Cheer on your favorite teams this season in front of a 22-foot LED video wall, showing up to 8 games at once, and of course, 40 TVs and massive dual projectors. Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill, 173rd and West Center Road, and for takeout at 162nd and Maple.
Hey, everybody, it's Michael Severe from Severe Reaction Sunday mornings from 8 to 10. As soon as I get off from work and head home, I'm usually going to be doing something for breakfast for the kids. And my new thing, I haven't done it really before, but the new thing is French toast. That's right. And what better bread to have for your French toast than Rotella's Italian bakery bread? It is amazing. And it really holds up to the batter and everything else. And when you're cooking it and putting that little bit of white sugar on top of it, it's amazing. You want to check it out. Get you some Rotella's Italian bakery bread and make you some French toast like I do pretty much every Sunday morning. Another great thing about Rotella's is it's versatile. Whether it's a tailgating party or getting ready for the holidays, Rotella's Italian Bakery Bread has you covered. And swing by the bakery at 108th and Harrison for all the smells and all the great bread as well. Stop by that bakery. Again, 108th and Harrison, or find us at the nearest grocery store. It's Rotella's Italian Bakery Bread. Over 100 years of tradition, and it's always in our house for the French toast on Sunday mornings.
Hi, this is Doug Nodgard with Equitable Bank. Great service never goes out of style. When the digital age dawned, many said computers would be able to handle many of the interactions that used to take a person. Boy, were they wrong. How many times have you called your bank and gotten a recording to press 1 or 2? Not at Equitable. Not only does Equitable answer your call in the first ring, it's answered by a human being. That's because Equitable Bank values its customers. Equitable Bank, we take banking personally. Member FDIC.
This is Darcy with Dingman's Collision Center. We have run our business for years by helping the vehicle owner retain the value of their vehicle by working for them with warranted, safe, high-standard repairs. For this reason, Omaha vehicle owners have chosen Dingman's to repair their vehicles. Your loyalty has been shown through repeat business and amazing referrals. You've also voted us first place Best of Omaha for the past 17 years. We want to say thank you for choosing the Dingman family and our incredible technicians to repair your vehicles. At Dingman's, we'd rather be the best than apologize for anything less.
West Omaha, you're in for a treat. Cops is now open at 180th and Center. Famous for their pizza and wings, but with their new location comes an extensive new menu that includes salmon, certified Angus beef fillets, ribeyes, New York strips, several pasta dishes, salads, and an extensive variety of shareable appetizers. Dine in, carry out, or delivery. Now open at Shadow Lake Town Center and 180th and Center. Click copspizza.com to see the menu. Pizza, steaks, pasta, salads, and so much more.
Buy your next vehicle your way from anywhere with Woodhouse. Start your journey online at woodhouse.com. Easily shop all new and pre-owned inventory, explore payment options and apply for financing. Ready to purchase? Schedule your new vehicle for pickup from the dealership or have it delivered to your driveway. Need a little extra help in determining your perfect vehicle? Our knowledgeable and local dealerships can guide you to the vehicle that best matches your needs. Experience car buying your way with Woodhouse, a trusted auto partner since 1975.
Standard Heating and Air Conditioning is and has always been locally owned and operated. Now, with 160 employee owners, chances are one of us lives in your neighborhood. We take pride in taking care of you, our customers, and keeping you comfortable all year round. And as always, our technicians don't have sales quotas. When other companies send salespeople, Standard sends qualified technicians. It's just part of.
Carrier, turn to the experts.
Make it a great fall season. Head to KuglerVision.com today to request a consultation.
1620 The Zone.
All right, Creighton Holy Cross tonight, game 3 of the season for Creighton. They have one more game at home, and then they go to the top November-December tournament at the Maui Classic. We welcome in for the World Herald, Joel Lorenzi, who said some nice things about his cohort, Jimmy Watkins, who we just talked to. I think you made him cry. Did you realize that?
Did I really? Did he say that? Did he admit to that?
Hey, I think he was ready to go there, that you made him cry and all the stuff you were saying about him, even some of the negative stuff.
Well, that touches my heart, really, because that's why I do this, right? This is why I had this voice. Now, did he say anything about me when he was just on?
You know what? He failed to. We may have run out of time.
Well, damn. Okay.
Hey, before we jump into some Creighton stuff, would you like to talk about the guy that is named after you, Joel Embiid? 59 points yesterday.
Oh, my gosh. I'm so glad you asked, because this is the duality of man, right? Like, I'm a big Joel Embiid guy.
Uh-huh.
And I think yesterday, I was watching parts of it. I think yesterday was probably his best career game, I think you could say. At least top 2 or 3. And it felt like, I want to try to explain this for people who didn't watch, just the urge, like you knew he was going to score when he touched the ball. And granted, the Jazz don't really play like a bigger defensive center, but it felt like, do you remember what it felt like when Kawhi Leonard would touch the ball during that 2019 run? And you just knew when he caught it from mid-range, like it was going in like that. Yeah. That's what it felt like when Embiid caught the ball. And it wasn't even just that. It was like, I think he had like 5 blocks in the fourth quarter. Like, he was doing everything. And I said duality of man because at the same time, I hated it because I was playing him in fantasy. And that single-handedly let my guy tie me in fantasy this week. So that sucked. But it was great to watch. I mean, he had like a great 24 hours of basketball, like an unreal 24 hours of basketball. It's great to see him play. And it's great that the debate, I think, between him and Jokic is still alive. I'm a Jokic guy, but
yeah.
So who are you taking? You taking Embiid or Jokic? Who's the?
Yeah, I'm taking Jokic. I just think he has even with Embiid being able to score 59, I think he's closed the gap offensively a little bit. But Jokic just offensively just has an unreal impact, just as a passer, just everything he offers on the floor is insane. Obviously, Embiid's a better defender, but I think Jokic just kind of tried to close that gap too.
How big? We'll stick with this real quick here, because I think we're in agreement that Giannis is at the top of the list, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, how much of a gap do you think there is between the world's best player and then the second best player in your mind?
Oh, not big at all. I've been a Giannis guy for like 10 years. He's actually my greatest call. I'm not much of an evaluator, granted, but he's my greatest call of all time. I predicted Giannis would be good. This good? No. But I always like Giannis. I've been going to Bucks games for probably over 10 years now, and I thought he's been the best player for a couple seasons now, at least. Now it's always up for debate, sure. I mean, the way the NBA works, so and so is playing like the best every month. So I think the gap is always small. LeBron is not on top anymore, right? So the gap is always small when he's not the best anymore. But it's Giannis for sure to me. Like you couldn't convince me otherwise right now.
So you saw that grainy YMCA gym footage in Greece, and you're like, "That's my guy."
Well, the rumors were out there. I mean, and you'll hear this sometimes every few years that he was still growing while he was a prospect, and he was 6'9" back then.
Yeah, when he got drafted.
I already knew. Yeah, I already knew. And he moved more fluid like a wing back then. I mean, you can even look back to see his jumper back then, but I would 100% take all the weight and everything he put on instead of a jumper.
Joel Lorenzi, who covers Creighton for the World Herald, joining us on a busy week of basketball. Creighton men play tonight against Holy Cross, and then a fantastic sold-out Sokol Arena will be rocking tomorrow for nationally ranked Creighton and Nebraska. But first week of Creighton men, the St. Thomas game and the North Dakota game. How would you sum up the first two games of this season for CU?
Oh, very different, right? We saw last Monday. I don't think it was a game where obviously it's a season opener, so I don't think you could walk away and be like, oh, there should be some question marks with the team, or oh, here's some of the things continuing from last year, right? Like I think, and I think many people would agree. Like I think some people kind of took like they didn't like what I wrote, right? But it was because I wrote what I saw. Like they had a really bad night from three, but it's not because they're a bad shooting team. I think it's because the basketball guys weren't on their side that night. I mean, they went 8 for 34. I mean, that's just at a certain point, it's just like that's just kind of the night you're having, and less of a reflection of what kind of shooting team you are. Because then the next game, obviously they torch. I think they shoot like 42% from three. Trey Alexander is back showing the touch he had in the jury game. They're all having fun and whatnot. So definitely two very different games. I think, it all started really, Carl Brenner had the flu, is what they were saying the first game, and he looked the part. And without him being the defensive anchor he typically is, everything else kind of follows suit, and it just both sides of the ball just weren't great. And then but you saw the ability to really flip the switch and change the game in those last 10 minutes of that first game. And man, I can't say enough good things about Baylor Scheierman, because he's shown like he has game changing sequences in him, and in that last game, even when he didn't have a great shooting day from the field, but was himself from three. And I think most of the shots he missed were like putbacks, like stuff that he probably won't miss often, and stuff that you're probably okay with him missing in a game like that, because I mean he's fighting around the rim and doing all the gritty stuff he likes. So,
Joel, I wanted to ask you about the rotations that Mac has been running out there, because especially in that first game against North Dakota, it was a little more disjointed, or it's not St. Thomas, sorry. Against St. Thomas, it was a little more disjointed and some unusual lineups out there. Seemed like it was a little more normal in the most recent game. How long do you think he's going to allow himself and kind of the lineups to play around a little bit before he starts settling in on a rotation that he likes?
I'd say Maui is probably going to be a good indicator of what lineups work and what don't. Because from then on, you're not playing Holy Cross, right? Like you're playing teams that are really going to put pressure on you, and you want to be confident with the guys you're throwing out there. So I'd say after Maui, he should have figured out his lineup. But truthfully, I think he does go at least 8 guys and possibly even 9 guys. I think regardless of what Sharif has shown to this point, and I thought he was good on defense last game. Obviously, what they expect from him, but I think people are always mentioning me like, oh, so and so should play over Sharif, and I just don't think the staff feels that way. I mean, regardless of the production beyond the defense, I think they just rely on him so much. So I think he'll play regardless. I don't know if that makes him the 8th man or he'll still be the 9th man. But I think they'll go that deep into their rotation. Now, you might not see Schultzberg, which is a big hit for the Schultzberg fan base. But, like, all these other guys, like, almost have to play, right? Like, they want them to play. Like, Farabello, a good decision-maker, high IQ, good shooter. He's going to play. He's probably the first off the bench, really. Fred King, they need to spell Kalkbrenner. And he looked, I like some of the flashes he's shown. That's 2 guys. Mason Miller's probably been the best shooter. Granted, he's just catching it in the corner. He's probably been the best shooter to this point. That's 3 guys. And then you could throw Sharif in there. So it feels like they'll all play throughout the year. I mean, it might get cut by 1 at a certain point. Or, maybe Ben shows enough to, I don't know, dethrone Sharif. I don't think that's in the near future, but I think that's where it stands now.
Hey, Joel, I say Fred King is intriguing, and he's still young. I mean, you're not throwing him out there saying, hey, you're one of the starting 5, so he gets to work behind Kalkbrenner and on this roster. But we've seen him for 2 games. I say the word intriguing. You've seen him now in person for 2 games, but knowing what his journey is like to get to Creighton, what would you describe him his first 2 games? And then what do you see, like, what do you think is the next step to watch him in his freshman year of, okay, he's hit this point, now he goes on to the next one as he develops into what I think a lot of people believe will be one of the better players in the Big East by the time his career is over?
Yeah, I'd probably agree with you. I'd say intriguing. I'd say even promising during some stretches, right? I mean, you can tell it's a different dynamic when he comes in the game. Obviously, Ryan Kalkbrenner is the anchor, the alpha. He's going to get buckets off, other guys getting attention. And he has some post-ups to him. Like, he feels complete right now. Obviously, he's a junior. But then Fred King comes in the game, it's like damn, he's instantly trying to get to the rim and obviously they've played smaller dudes in these few games, so he's really trying to abuse them. And you can see as soon as he catches the ball, like he's on a mission. And I really like it was one possession last game where he catches it like right below the free throw line, and he just crosses over in front of him and does a 2-hand slam. I'm like, well, I didn't see that coming. I didn't think he could face up at all. And you're just seeing his development in real time. I think he's probably developing faster than anyone on his team right now. I think that's because he started out not so skilled. I mean, he's only been playing basketball for probably less than a handful of years now. So it's one of those stories where he is a late bloomer, started playing basketball late, and he just has so much room to grow playing one of the best big men every single day in practice. So I'd say intriguing and promising. I think he's shown good flashes, and you might be right to say he'll be one of the better players in the Big East by the time it's all said and done.
Joel, I want to ask you about Ryan Nembhard. Obviously, he's playing a pretty dramatically different role than he did last year. What have you thought of his performance through the first couple games?
Yeah, I thought he's done his job. I think you look up and he's having a game 5 assists, 6 assists. I mean, this is kind of what I expected from him because obviously last year and I talked about this a little bit, but last year he was forced to, create more and be an end of the clock scorer. And in a perfect world, you got guys who could score at the end of the clock around him, so he can get them in those situations, or defer and find him the best look. Because Ryan is still a talented scorer. Like, he gets downhill faster than most, but I think he's best when he gets to get downhill and find guys looks. And I think it showed. I mean, he should be leading the team in assists. I haven't looked at the averages, but it seems that way. And him and Baylor together as playmakers, from what I've seen, has been a really great dynamic, because the value, I'm going to talk about Baylor again, but the value you get out of Baylor as your second or third ball handler is incredible, man. And Ryan Nembhard looks as good as he should with the ball in his hands as that first facilitator.
Yep. Enjoy tonight. What's the deadline? Tip off is 8:00. What's your deadline? When do you have to have your story in tonight so it makes the paper?
Like 10-15, man.
Ooh.
Yeah. Not great.
Good luck. Good luck.
I appreciate you.
Hey, we appreciate the conversation as always. We'll see you tonight downtown.
All right.
That's Joel Lorenzi of the World Herald, covers Creighton athletics.
Yeah, he's gonna have that thing done before the final buzzer, basically.
Man, you got no quotes in there.
Yeah, he might get a go to the presser, maybe, probably not. He's hoping for like a quick hour 45 game.
10-15, man.
That's brutal.
Yeah,
that's brutal.
I mean, do you even get the box score in there? I know a lot of times they don't always put the box score in.
Rob's pretty good, so he'll probably get the box score to you in time, I would guess. It's gonna be tough though.
All right.
It's tough out here for the beat writers.
I know it is.
I don't envy them. It's a tough gig.
We'll come back. We'll put a wrap on this Monday edition. We'll hand it over to Connor Happer, and he can take you the rest of the way with. Oh, wait a minute. There's no news.
Not yet.
No. I do want to mention this on a much serious note. There is some awful news coming out of Charlottesville, Virginia today. There was a shooting on campus that involved the shooter is a current student that has taken the life of a current football player at Virginia. And it is an awful, awful situation. So everybody is sending out their thoughts and prayers to the people at the University of Virginia and in the Virginia community, because the details that are coming out are just horrific.
Yeah.
Of their shooting that happened overnight on campus. All right, we're back to put a wrap on this one after this.
For the Jays, the Huskers, and even you Jayskers, we are 1620 The Zone.
Sunday morning is all about church, eggs, and the Sunday paper. But right next to church, it's made for hot takes and reactions. Severe Reactions. Michael Severe is back on 1620 The Zone with Severe Reaction. Sundays 8 to 10, and doesn't hold back on what went right and what went wrong on Saturday. He'll also take calls from the most important voice of all, yours. Severe Reaction, Sundays from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Powered by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. Only on 1620 The Zone.
How would you like to come home to a bartender who will fix you any cocktail you want?
I'll have an old-fashioned.
I'll have a margarita.
Now you can with the Bartesian Home Cocktail Maker. Bartesian is a sleek machine the size of a coffee maker that makes premium cocktails at the touch of a button. Choose from over 50 different cocktails, from classics to the most exotic premium cocktails served in the best bars today. You'll always get freshly mixed, perfectly balanced cocktails with the Bartesian Cocktail Maker. And now get Bartesian's best Black Friday deal ever at bartesian.com/enjoy. Entertaining? The Bartesian is ideal for parties. No need to stock all kinds of individual mixers for complicated recipes. Every guest gets the cocktail of their choice in seconds. The Bartesian makes a wonderful gift for anyone who loves a fine premium cocktail. Now get Bartesian's best Black Friday deal ever. It's available right now, only at bartesian.com/enjoy. That's BARTESIAN.com/enjoy for Bartesian's best deal ever. Only at bartesian.com/enjoy.
Where can you start holiday shopping now for a season full of savings? Lowe's, actually. Find prices you love backed by the Lowe's Price Promise, like the 4-piece LG stainless steel kitchen suite was $4,267, now $2,986, for a total savings of $1,281. Check back daily for deals during Black Friday month and start saving now at Lowe's. Home to any possibility. Offer valid through 11/16. Terms and exclusions apply. See store for details. Learn more at Lowe's.com/price promise.
Mornings on 1620 The Zone, brought to you by MD West One Orthopedics, Neurosurgery, and Spine.
Last year, I enrolled my family for health care coverage through the health insurance marketplace. Do I need to enroll again?
Yes, we have seen the plans available through the marketplace change, and new options may be available. You must re-enroll for 2023 to ensure you or your family are in the right plan for your budget and needs. Charles Drew Health Center in Omaha can help. Just call 402-451-3553 to set up an appointment with a team member.
I don't have health coverage, and I'm worried that if I get sick, I can't afford the medical bills. How do I get started?
Getting started is easy and free. Just call to set up an appointment with a Navigator enrollment specialist. We will explain your coverage options, answer any questions, help you enroll, and see if you qualify for financial assistance. Open enrollment is November 1st through January 15th. Re-enroll in healthcare coverage or enroll for the first time. Call Charles Drew Health Center at 402-451-3553 to set up an appointment.
Bill Jones.
And Olivia.
Here again for Jones Bros Cupcakes and Cafe. Jones Bros is famous here at Omaha for catering delicious breakfasts and lunches for business meetings.
If I owned a business, I cater Jones Bros every day.
Sounds good to me, Olivia.
For breakfast, I cater French toast with warm syrup and croissant donuts. That'd be a good day at work.
Go with it, Olivia. Check out our website at jonesbroscupcakes.com for catering.
Jones Bros Cupcakes in Exarban Village.
Imagine it's cold and frigid and your home's heater just quit. Sometimes the heating system is beyond repair and needs to be replaced. At 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning, our comfort specialists take the frustration out of the equation. We're experienced in everything from boilers to furnaces to heat pumps, ductwork, and all. So call 402-333-5000 for a free duct cleaning with every furnace installation.
Always on time, or you don't pay time.
Terms and conditions apply. Independently owned and operated. Licensed in their respective state or county.
1620 The Zone.
So the shooting on the University of Virginia campus late last night, there are a manhunt is underway for the shooter who killed 3 people and injured 2 more. It is being reported in Charlottesville that the 3 that are dead are current football players at the University of Virginia, and there is a connection to Wisconsin. Wisconsin has just sent out a memo that they have canceled all media availability today in Madison because one of the football players that was shot and killed is Devin Chandler, who transferred from Wisconsin to Virginia. So just before 11, the University of Virginia Emergency Management Office advised that a shooting occurred on a road near the heart of campus. The shooting suspect is identified as Christopher Darnell Jones Jr., who is a former Virginia football player. He was not on the current roster.
Yeah, but was currently enrolled in school based on reports. So, I mean, connecting dots here, it seems like this was a pretty targeted deal here.
Yeah, this is an absolutely horrific situation. 3 Virginia football players have been shot and killed overnight on campus at the University of Virginia. So that's the big story right now going on in sports, and just a terrible, terrible situation. They have lifted the shelter-in-place order on campus as their manhunt continues, and they don't believe that the shooter is still on campus.
Right. Yeah. Shooter's still at large, but the shelter in place has been lifted. So I'm hoping they'll find him soon.
I'm sure there'll be more information coming on, but wow, that's not the way you want to start your Monday morning. Big thanks to Ravi. We'll be back in again tomorrow at 6. Jimmy as well. You missed any of the segments, they're up on the radio replay page. Yeah, it'll be a day.
Yeah.
Don't forget tonight, Creighton basketball, 8 o'clock against Holy Cross. You'll
I'll
be on
back
the
at
air?
6.
They're making you do 90 minutes?
For Holy Cross, the Blossom Bowl.
Wow.
Good stuff.
Fun breaking down the Big Ten Big East Challenge.
Yeah, I can't wait. I'm going to have a good time.
That's all coming up tonight. We'll talk to you tomorrow at 6.
Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this